are Jeremy Knight with the Knight Group, your favorite Austin realtor. Thank you for jumping on. What did y'all think of the intro music? We are moving up in the world. My main man, Ian of Austin, convinced me to get the paid version of this program. So $240, well spent. That's for you. All right. So we have a wonderful, wonderful show tonight. I have some amazing guests. You might have seen them a couple times on this channel. I'll give you a little hint, a little nugget there. One is, in fact, potentially the Molded Knight. We had one other guest that was going to come on. She totally bailed on us, like last minute, need a photo shoot or something like that. So I don't know what that's all about. But anyway, we have an amazing show tonight. We are going to talk about Elon Musk dropping the Austin is the next boomtown, what that means for Austin, what that looks like right now. Obviously, you've heard us the last few weeks talk about how absolutely nuts this market is. So we're going to talk about Mr. Musk and his kind words about the Austin area. So I'm excited. If you don't know, the last week picture of you and your wife is beautiful. Thank you, Nancy. I'm going to put Ian behind us in the next one. That way we can have Ian on there as well. So yeah, the last week we had a wild week. So we'll briefly talk about our experiences in this wild Texas weather. So let's bring on the crew. Boom. Kevin Knight, Mr. Mullet Man, back at it again.
Flowing freely.
Flowing. Do you like it? So I like how you're sideways so we can actually see the mullet. I tried to grow my mullet out. As you can see it. I'm working on mine.
If you want, I can trim your sides. It'll be really pronounced.
I need to. Last week was haircut week, and obviously that got cut. So, Ian of Austin, welcome, my friend.
Hey, how's it going? It's kind of the same thing. Last week was haircut week. I had to do it myself. Heaven forbid. It's the worst.
Well, you
good job. Wait, I can't see any of it.
Yeah, I know. That's the point. I just cover it with a hat.
So I was without water from like Monday to Sunday. Our pipes froze the first couple of days. If anybody saw my video, I talked about this. I am without water again. We're in the middle of building a pool, and one of the pipes froze, and we just found out today it broke. So I had to turn off my water again. Really excited about that. Yeah. So, all right. Dinosaur D says he has a crush on Kevin and his mullet. Totally understand that. Nancy's back at it. She's saying hello to Ian. Nancy, hello. Welcome to the channel. Ian's shooting in like 12K. I think he's what, 13?
12K.
Right? Yeah, 14K. I'm working on it.
Nice, man. All right. So how was your experience the last week, Kevin?
I mean, I just like everybody else. I think of course, we kind of live in the same area, but being on the outer edge of the water service for Austin, being the first people to lose it and then the last people to get it back has been really frustrating.
Yeah, for sure.
Finally, after about 7 days, 6 days without water, 7 days without hot water, I finally just broke down yesterday and got a hotel room. You know, I went and took a shower. You know, it was a cheap hotel. Actually, it's nice. If you're ever coming to Austin and you want to stay, I highly recommend the Moxie Hotel in Guadalupe. It was $77 a night, and the margarita is $23, which made no sense to me. But it was a great little place, a little boutique hotel. But yeah, I know I'm happy to be back. My water's on. I think we've learned a lot of lessons. I don't know if we're going to talk about that much, but I think we've learned a lot of lessons.
Well, that, you know, what's awesome about the topic of Elon Musk talking about boomtown, it falls into the craziness of last week. So there you go. I've actually stayed at the Moxie in Denver one time, and I gotta admit that was a fun hotel to stay at, especially when you're snowed in. So that was fun. We were snowed in. So
oh yeah, nice.
Yeah. So I would ask Ian how his week was, but he had internet the whole time, power.
I didn't
lose all bundled up.
Here's the thing. I did. So my wife, she was like, you know what? We got to do the right thing. And I agree, right? I got to support my wife. So we do the right thing and turn our power down, or I'm sorry, use less things, turn everything off, turn our heat down. So I was freezing. Yeah, I'm from Chicago, but freezing at 68 degrees. Oh, I was losing. I was so upset. So upset.
68's kind of cold.
It is very cold. and that was with the fireplace on and everything. And it just
I gotta admit, I was quite annoyed when I saw your post about wondering if you should do the Tesla update.
Oh, yeah, you saw
and
that.
I'm sitting here and I have like no internet. I'm like barely, like one bar on my phone. And this guy's like, I wonder if I should do my Tesla update. I'm like, you suck.
Do you have to have a cell phone to do your Tesla update?
If the power went out or I lost internet or anything like that, and the car, let's say the car died or the internet went out in the middle of the update or something went out. Like imagine that. And I bricked the car. You ever bricked a phone? I'm not saying that's possible, but that'd be crazy. And if I need heat, that's where I was going to go. That was the other part of it. Okay.
Well, I didn't know this, but Charles worked at the Tesla plant in Cali, and he'll be working at the one in Austin.
Okay, Charles.
Charles, that'll be a fun drive from Georgetown every day, buddy. He's like Leander, George.
That's not bad on 130.
130.
Well, if he has a Tesla, he can sleep all the way there. So
he can.
Do not encourage him to do
that. Yeah, probably shouldn't do that. All right, so let's talk about what Mr. Musk said about Austin being a boomtown. First of all, he was on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So hell of a place to be on a podcast. Joe Rogan, get at me.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So
right? Just tweet me or something one time. That's it.
Yeah. So I would play all of this, but I don't know like copyright and all that good stuff, how that works. So let's see. So basically he said that Austin is the next big boomtown, right? He obviously, we all know he's bringing his gigafactory here, and then he's going to bring in a bunch of other stuff probably. It'd be really nice if he offered to pay for part of our transit stuff that's going on. I mean, we're paying what, $7.8 billion for Prop A to put in some trains. So it'd be nice if Mr. Musk, put in a bill for that. Okay. Plus we gave him a bunch of tax benefits and tax breaks to come here. So it'd be nice, help us out. He also said that it's a lot like a bit like a mini California.
Don't say this.
Ooh, that's remember my.
Did he say mini Silicon Valley?
Yeah. So that's interesting because what we can talk about that. And then what else did he said something?
Exactly.
Yeah. He said something in fact, don't turn Texas or Austin into what you move from. I don't see that in this article, but
he did say on the podcast, he said that.
Yeah. What did he say, Ian?
Exactly that. He said, listen, realize why you're leaving and don't come and make the place you're moving to the same as why you left. Like, don't do whatever you did there to make it that. That was Elon Musk said that on this podcast.
Right. So, and I had read that. I just couldn't find it in that article. And the Austin.
And the problem is that's such a general statement. You don't know what he's actually talking about, right? It's not. You can't directly say anything like that. You don't know.
So let me ask you this then. What are your thoughts on just the words that he said there, that Austin is the next boomtown? Start with you, Ian.
Oh, there's no doubt that Austin is the next boomtown. I think I knew it when I finally pulled the trigger to move here myself. And the big reason is because of, like, when you do all your check boxes, you look at where you want to go in the United States. Austin's in the dead center. Like, we're actually the Midwest, right? Like, we're middle of the map. Florida, there's hurricanes and humidity. California, you've got, I don't have to say any more. And then you come to Austin, and then you're surrounded by all these major metropolitans. So it feels small. There's lots of art. There's lots of industry here. You can get all sorts of jobs. You can be an engineer. You can be an artist. You can be a foodie, a chef, world-renowned chef. There's all sorts of topography. So it's kind of the best of all worlds. And it's just such a magnetic draw. So I already knew that. And you already had, here's the thing, sleeping giants. I don't think people realize this. Tesla, sure. He's like, yeah, I'm going to move Tesla here. And that's what everybody's buzzword's been. But Samsung has been here. Apple has been here multiple times over. They're working on their third plant. Amazon has been here. They're just putting more. I don't think people understand that this has already been a boom town, and now it's going to be a big bada boom.
Mm-hmm.
Bada big boom.
You know what that's from? Did you say that on purpose?
I did say that on. Come on, I said that
follow
on
that.
Yeah.
Fifth Element quotes.
Good.
So, Kevin, are we the next boomtown, or are we already the next boomtown?
I mean, when you first mentioned that we're going to be talking about boomtowns, like I wanted to go look and see like what classifies something as a boomtown or not a boomtown.
Point.
And of course, in real estate, we've made that word mean what we now want it to mean, which is lots of real estate growth. Mm-hmm. But, you know, I was just looking through a list of boomtowns like that are classified as boomtowns throughout the years. And basically what it is when an opportunity, whether it's a resource or something else, pops up into an area, and then the infrastructure can't handle the massive growth, like the rate at which the city grows. And so from that standpoint, I'd say, yes, I'd say we are a boomtown. I think that for the last few years, I don't think the city has, and this week was a good example of, I don't think that our city has done a good job of embracing the growth that way that we needed to be a boomtown. And it's like one of these things where we've had every opportunity to do so. Now, from a like what we talk about boomtown, yeah, hell yeah. I mean, this has been the rate at which it's been growing since I came here, because I randomly came here years ago. I spun a globe and said, I'm tired of where I'm living. Where do I want to go? I said, I guess I just want to go to Austin. It just immediately rose to the top of my mind. It was like, there was no other city in the country that, well, besides Dallas, maybe, that I was considering at the time. But Austin was like immediately top of mind. And I came here because of that. And that was years ago. Right. So I can't imagine, like, there's so much buzz. I get a call, you do too, every single day about somebody ready to move to this town.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so I have this video up here, and Austin has done Boomtown 2040. We've had this ongoing series that KU has put on. So I'll link this in at the end if you want to check out this. I feel like this is a very good conversation of what Austin being a boomtown is. There's a lot of good information in here, and a lot of the things that what we're going to talk about, I feel like this 20-minute video right here kind of conveys. But one thing he said was about, well, I'll get to that in a second, but yes, I think Austin's already been a boomtown. If you look at our skyline, it's already changed drastically in the 9 years that I've been here. Real estate has increased up until 2020. Real estate had been increasing, 9% year over year growth. And that was like every year, it's like, wow, we had 9% growth, 9% growth. Wow, I had a really good return there. And then we hit 2020. And a lot of the issues that Austin's facing, I feel, is because we weren't prepared. And that little documentary that they had there talked about this, that Austin had always been this sleepy town, and they pushed back on growth. Now, with the advent of the convention center, and then you have South by Southwest coming, a lot of people have found out how amazing Austin is. So it's been a boomtown really since 2000. But because of that, we have a ton of issues with that. And we're seeing that in our market right now. It's hard to get things built quickly. So we're seeing a huge depletion in inventory. So prices are skyrocketing. Also, what's helping that is a lot of people are moving here for a lot of reasons. And then all these other big companies are saying, hey, let's move to Austin because it's cheaper. We all know that it's not necessarily, I mean, cheaper is a relative word, but speaking of the companies that are moving here, Ian, you touched on it. What are some of the big companies that are planting roots here now and causing a lot of this exponential growth, right? I feel like up until probably 2014, we were already moving up. And then a few big names said, you know what? Let's get here. And obviously, the city of Austin has done a good job of getting people here. Why they didn't bring Amazon, I don't know, but they cut a pretty sweetheart deal. It could have been because of the word we're not supposed to say on YouTube where we get demonetized. Don't say it, Ian, guys.
No, I did it last time. It's my fault.
Yeah. So, so what are some of the companies you think that are going to really bring a lot of the business, Ian?
So you got to think about what the price points of the homes are, the industry and that sort of thing, and then what the companies are doing. So a lot of the companies that are announcing their move here. Because that's the thing. There are a lot of companies that are moving here or have been here that aren't announcing it. But the fact that they're announcing it, a lot of them are companies that were leaving like the Bay Area or are known for being in the Bay, being prominent in like Silicon Valley and coming here, right? Facebook has been here and they're just expanding on what they're doing here.
They were
Google
a big one to be here early.
Yeah,
right?
Google. They've had a place here. They're like, we're gonna invest heavy here now.
Yeah.
Oracle has
Apple.
been here.
Yep.
They just want to do more. They say we're gonna move our headquarters there. You know, that's a really cool place.
Yeah, they are doing that still, right?
Yeah, and yeah, so they're doing it. Samsung already has a huge plant, and there was a quote from
We're one of the biggest semiconductor cities in the world, right?
Charles Wheat.
Yeah. Charles,
Yeah,
what's up?
so he talks about that right there. Apple has a relationship with Samsung. Guess what? So does Tesla. There's a Samsung chip in every Tesla car. So it only makes sense.
The guy buys one Tesla after I do, and he knows everything there is about Tesla.
No. Listen, the
Just
background
kidding.
on my computer screen has been a Cybertruck since the day they announced it. Anyway, I've been tracking for a while. I just,
Yeah, I blame CNN wholly for saying that Round Rock was the best rated place to live. I think Round Rock's so overrated now, in my opinion. I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Well,
I don't think it's a bad place to live by any means. I just think for the amount of praise that it gets, you could be in Leander and get a lot of the same things.
It's interesting you say that because I've actually heard people out loud say Austin was so 5 years ago. It's like, wait, what? Like, what does that mean? Because they think it's overrated. But I really like, Kevin, I really like what you brought up, how you said what classifies it as a boom town. Like the fact that it is growing so fast that it can't keep up with it itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it just can't stay contained anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I love that comparison or that definition of it.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it is.
It's becoming way more than just like it used to be like Austin and then the suburbs. Like I was out in Pflugerville, deep in Pflugerville today, like way out where they're building that new middle school out there by Weiss High School.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I know that.
I mean, flat land as far as you can see.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think when you look at the growth belt across all of the north and east side of town, there's so much room. There's so much room to grow. It's not even funny actually.
Yeah.
Like what's going to happen is that these folks are going to lose. This is my prediction, and you can come back and bookmark this later on and look years from now. And I think that I'm probably going to be right. When people say things like, is Austin a good place to invest real estate? In my opinion, any price point, any home that you can buy anywhere near downtown right now is going to be an incredible deal, because the short-sighted view of what you're looking at is going to be you're looking short-sighted assuming that the city stays the same way that it is, right?
Yeah.
And then the inventory is just going to increase in price because more people want to be here. Yeah, that's partially true. But what's going to happen is that the entire growth belt is going to fill up, just like it's been in Southern California. And then those people are going to be happy to drive 30 or 40 or an hour just to get to their job. And they're going to envy these folks that are living in 04 and 45 and 53 and 02. And these homes are going to be ridiculously high in demand. That's why I've talked to a few people lately in the last week. A lot of people do want to buy new construction out in the suburbs, Pflugerville, Leander, all this good stuff. And I'm like, listen, before you do that, if you tell me you have a $500,000 or $600,000 budget, let's exhaust every opportunity in town as close as you could possibly get, because that's where in my opinion, I think that's where the long-term massive growth is going to be.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're going to merge with San Antonio and Waco and Temple and Houston at some point, maybe the 2040 thing, right? It's just going to be one huge mega area that people move to, and Austin is in the center of it.
Yeah.
I just put under contract, Ian. I think I told you about this, Kevin. I might have, but let's keep where I'm buying this. a secret for now.
Yep.
But I just put under contract a new rental property for ourselves.
Oh, nice.
It is not in Austin.
Oh,
yeah.
So my next week's video is going to be on why you shouldn't invest in Austin and why I invested outside of Austin.
Oh,
so so that's going to be my next one. So, and it goes along with exactly what Ian just said. I mean, if you look at the I-35 corridor, it is the fastest growing metroplex in the entire world. I don't know. I saw that stat. Maybe it's entire nation, but no, aware penguin. I did not buy a place in San Antonio. And good try. So, Kevin, we got to get your mullet off here. Everybody's starting to agree with you more than they agree with me.
Yeah.
But
cover it a little bit,
But I mean, you're making a good point. Is that if for a boomtown to happen, we are going to have to expand outside of Austin. And I pulled up this here. That goes to my next biggest point is the infrastructure problem.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, if you're living out, east, you're having to take 130, which is a toll road. If you're living up in Leander, this is a toll road up until about here. So this is a toll road. If you're going to live south, they just put in this toll road, and this just opened up. Like if you live, this is why I keep saying Buda is the most underrated city.
Oh, for sure.
Buda and Kyle are now the most underrated cities because Kyle, which used to take me, I live in this area. What used to take me here, I had to go up, around, and down. Would take me 45 minutes to get to Kyle. Now, from getting here to Kyle takes me about 15 to less than 20 minutes to go show properties. So that means it's only about 30 minutes to downtown this way, and you can now not have to drive down I-35.
Yeah.
So, but it's another toll road. If you're going to go out west, this is a 4-lane road through 290. You hit the Y right here, and the Y is a joke. And then 290 is a joke right here. So, and then if you're going out east, you're going down a toll road. Now, mind you, this 130 is like 130 mile an hour road. Just kidding. It's not, but it's like what, 80, 85, something like that. So, but the thing is like Hutto is growing. Taylor is growing. Elgin's so far out. Elgin's growing. I just had somebody reach out to me. We're going to put another contract on a property in Bastrop. San Marcos is only about 45-minute drive. So while we're seeing this boomtown, quote unquote, it's all pushing out. It's not Austin. In fact, we even talked about it last time on my last podcast, is that Austin isn't the place people are moving. It's the suburbs around it. So Pflugerville, Round Rock, Cedar Park, Buda, Kyle, all these areas where people are moving. But the problem is, and I think we're going to face a bigger problems. I know they want to put in Prop 8. I think, we definitely could use some sort of rail and some sort of better public transportation. But these Mopac is such a tiny freeway. 35 is a joke.
Here's the thing.
It is okay. 183 is definitely getting better out here. They're having construction. But with this many people coming here, like this is a joke to get north and south. I mean, I don't know. What are your thoughts? I'm rambling. Go ahead.
No, I think you're saying the right thing. I'm glad you mentioned that because I think we've talked about this before where the city of Austin hasn't really been that interested in improving the infrastructure, but it actually makes more sense to me why they don't now. Like they're happy. How many more new homes are you going to build in the city limits of Austin at this point? In
the city limits, I mean, really the reality is it's not that many. And when they're doing it, they're tearing down and doing flips on the east side or an 04 like you were talking about.
Yeah. You're not going to get an appreciably larger number of people in there. So the city of Austin's like, why are we going to spend our money on that infrastructure when, let's be honest, okay, Mopac is a nightmare, right? But this is relative, right? This is like, in this case, you have a nightmare about clowns, but the clown's actually doing something nice for you, not trying to murder you, right? So that's just my take on Mopac. And honestly, it hit me pretty heavy lately. The big question I don't have, people give them a hard time for not doing something about I-35, which I don't necessarily think is Austin's responsibility to do much. I mean, yes, they have to work with our government on that, but I don't understand why more of the 35 traffic isn't taking the toll road. Like
Yeah.
Explorer is far from being even remotely busy, and people complain all the time about 35. Maybe you guys can tell me why that's the case.
I honestly, for me, I live in Southwest Austin, and we do a lot of business all over. It's actually easier for me to go up Mopac across 45 to get to Pflugerville than it is the 130 and across the freeway, because that traffic across the freeway on 71 is a joke. Like, that is the worst traffic. So it's actually easier to still take Mopac than it is 130 for me. I don't know. Ian, you use it a lot, don't you?
I do. I take 35 a lot. And so to answer your question, Kevin, so
You have to
35,
like jump on a moped and drive on the side streets and just run red lights if you're gonna go up 35.
I've done that. I've jumped on. I bought my wife and I bought a Honda Ruckus, and we did take a moped on 29.
I can see you guys rough riding, just like her in the back.
Well, we had to buy it, and I didn't have a trailer at the time. It was a whole thing. Anyway, all that to say, so 35 goes from Minneapolis to Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
It goes through so many states. That is the road that people know about, and I think that's one reason why it's such a the fact that it cuts through Austin. It was such a draw, and to Kevin's point, as far as things growing out, I think 130 is kind of where, for the longest time, if you were outside of 130, wow, you were far. Now you can't really go left beyond Mopac. There's a lake in the way, and there's no way to cross it.
No way to cross it. And
There's
then
no way
I love when people tell me there's going to be a bridge so people from Lago Vista don't have to drive as far.
No,
Not going to happen. Not in Austin.
no,
It'd be amazing if they did, though.
it would be incredible.
Yeah.
Well,
but
Lago Vista is a cool place.
Anyway, because that'll save you an hour to just go across, but they don't have that. So I really think, like you said, Kevin, I think everything just east of 130, or like you said, Jeremy, everything just east of 130 is just going to continue to explode. And it is a toll road, but when you look at how much either time you're saving, which is worth, some kind of value to you, there's no traffic. You can do 85 miles an hour. It's fantastic.
So I've talked about this on my channel. Obviously, Proposition A, which is the Project Connect. It's going to be adding rail lines and all that goodies. Is it still on my screen here?
Oh, I've got an answer for Neil Patel, if that's the real Neil Patel.
Is it the real Neil Patel?
Is that the real Casey Jones?
Oh, Casey Jones.
Joe Speed.
So with Project Connect, right, it's adding some rail lines, but this is going to charge. I mean, they're saying that residents are going to pay, what was it, $7 billion? 40% of it was supposed to be offset by the government, which is not true. That was one of the big lies about this, or big myths. So this is the question I'll pose to you. So we have these big companies, right? We're incentivizing them with tax rebates to move here, right? We gave, Del Valley ISD gave a ton of tax incentives for Tesla putting out the Gigafactory out there. Should we have some sort of, and it's just I don't know how people feel about this, but should we start, I don't know, putting a tax or something to have them help offset the cost that taxpayers are having to pay for this?
Should we have the companies do that?
Yeah, should we have them chip in? I know they're going to say, people tried to give me the excuse that because companies are bringing potential ridership in and riders will pay for it, and they might pay for them to ride, that'll offset the cost. But that would have to be a lot of people, and most people have cars. I mean, most people, and this is Texas, not everybody's going to take public transportation.
It is Texas, but people are coming from elsewhere.
True. A lot of people don't have cars.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know that I agree with it.
Okay.
I think Del Valley is doing the right thing by offering those incentives. I think the best thing that could happen for Del Valley is to invent itself for the first time as a hub of itself. Mm-hmm. And to have a central place where they're going to do. I mean, they're going to do that development at the corner of 71 and 130 whenever it breaks ground, which I think is going to be incredible. But I don't think that these companies should, because I guess I equate it to this. If you know, think of your wealthiest friend, and if your wealthiest friend invited you over for dinner and then asked you to bring, you know, a steak to cook your own, you'd be like, okay, am I invited or am I not invited? You know, like we want Tesla to be here long term, because what they're doing for us is actually very good. You know, I think that their benefit far outweighs any request that we should have for them. That's just my thought, you know.
I'm only asking the question because I've given people my thoughts on Prop A, and that's some of the things that I've heard people complain about, is saying that, oh, we're incentivizing all these companies, but they're not paying their fair share of taxes. And so I just thought it'd be a good question to ask there. Ian, any insight on that before we find out if Neil is real?
Yeah, I like where your head is at with asking the question. But I'm actually going to side with the other knight as well, the Dark Knight. I think that having not just Tesla, but specifically, I'll say Tesla, because you also have the Boring Company. You also have they're
going to put a showroom out there.
SpaceX is already here, but you have multiple industries that are relocating. They're working on an HVAC system, all because we won this incentivization to bring them here. There's going to be so much. And then I think a way that you had mentioned cars earlier, I think that's interesting because there are so many micro communities that are being created, like Mueller, like the Domain, all around Austin and the suburbs, that they're building it out where people will need less cars. We're going to have robo-taxis. That's Tesla's whole mission, right? We're going to have robo-taxis and Uber drivers.
How much Tesla stock do you own? Yeah,
A little bit.
Today was another good day for you. Oh, I guess it rebounded a bit. I mean, we should really feel sorry for Elon. He lost so much money yesterday.
I know. It's
I
the
feel
worst.
terrible for him. Maybe he should.
Bitcoin and in stock. Actually, the stock price bounced back.
He's the wealthiest friend asking you to bring steak.
Well, yeah, he did also buy. He also did buy a stock or buy Bitcoin and then say it's overvalued. So
yep, he did it to
me.
You know why he did that? You know why he did that? Don't
so he could purposely lose money?
No, because I mean, fluctuation in price is great for Bitcoin. The volatility is actually great for it long term.
More people are going to buy it.
More people are going to buy it now. They're going to be like, oh, like when Bitcoin's $50,000, $60,000, that becomes really unmanageable for a lot of people. I mean, that's a different conversation. We can talk about finance some other time, but I think now people see it go down. They're like, oh, I actually buy that today. I actually regret not buying Tesla puts last week when I said I was going to. So there's that.
Yeah. Well,
anyways, go ahead.
Yeah. So I don't understand the whole Real Patel thing.
Oh, Neil Patel?
Yeah. Real Neil Patel.
I don't know who Neil Patel is.
Oh, Neil Patel he was like one of the early 30 under 30 billionaires on Forbes. Okay. For marketing. So anyway, I follow Neil Patel, but this is not the real Neil Patel.
It could be. Neil, are you real?
So he asked what's one thing in Austin related to real estate that isn't booming? Foreclosures. Why do people keep asking for that? People have been asking for that for years.
Oh, actually, there's a real answer to that, I think.
Yeah, go ahead.
Condos.
Yeah.
I think condos are not booming yet. And
that's true. I agree. Actually, 100% agree with you.
You could probably walk downtown right now. I think we've talked about this a little bit before. I love doing these videos with you, Jeremy, because I can sit at my computer and pull up all this data right here.
Real time.
Real time. I mean, this is like, I feel like I'm on unbox therapy or something a little later.
Remember last week, a week ago, somebody said this is better than watching TV.
Yeah, I think we are. 332 condos in Austin right now.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look up under 350 and under price point, 1,200 square feet, there's 32 homes. So people keep asking about 350 price point. There's like 32 homes total. How many condos are there under 350 since you've got it in front of you? in the Austin area.
The deal is, though, I understand why people are not ready for condos, because they've been sold online and through media and news that Austin's the best place to buy, but their understanding is that it's the best place for them to buy a 3-2 detached single family fee simple ownership home.
Right.
And that's what they want. They want to come to Austin and get the yard and the white picket fence. And I don't blame them. I just don't think our buyer pool has been conditioned yet to accept fully that if you're a solo buyer, you probably, your budget wise, is probably going to only afford you a 1-1 or 2-1 condo at some point in the near future.
Well, I just had, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, Austin's already been a dual. It's been a pretty strong dual income home buying community for a long time anyway. So
I was on a podcast with I got interviewed today by someone from the Barbara Corcoran team out of New York. And they were asking me, like, you said in a live stream that Austin wasn't the best place to invest. Why? And so I was like, oh God, do I have to do my whole live stream? I basically was like, go to the live stream it, because you can't buy. And I was explaining to him, if you want to buy something under 350, I mean, if you look at the closed properties today, did you either of you look at the closed properties, what they listed for?
I was looking at about showing.
So I looked through today what had like the list price and what it sold. Everything was at minimum 105,000 over list price.
Yeah,
everything. So right. that actually leads us. So there's a couple good people are bringing this up. This is actually a topic we will talk about. Culture changes. Well, they're saying to adapt towards transit, but will the real fake Bill Gates please stand up? But somebody had said something about the culture lose its soul. There we go. At this rate, Austin will lose its soul, just like the Bay Area. We are going to talk about that. So keep that in your back pocket. Next topic we are going to talk about is right now we are seeing a crazy, crazy real estate market. If we are the next boomtown, how do we grow and what do prices look like 2 years, 5 years from now?
What do you think, Jeremy?
Yeah.
I don't think Austin can sustain this rapid growth. The challenge in saying that, though, is builders have been so hampered by the amount of products that they have. So lumber's hard to get a hold of right now. It's still expensive. So they're trying to cut back on builds because it's expensive. It's hard to get lumber. Just to get microwaves, ovens, appliances are so hard for builders. And right now, the easiest thing, what used to be the easiest thing for us to do, if somebody wanted to buy a home, we could just say, hey, move here, there's a new build, and they would have an inventory home. Builders have such a hard time with inventory homes. In fact, Ian has somebody calling all day to get just builder inventory. My wife calls all day. I feel like she's calling all day asking about builder inventory. So while I don't think we can sustain, I don't think we can keep up with these prices, but at the same time, I look at the lag in growth, and this is what prevented us in 2012 from seeing a huge crash, right? I mean, 2009, we saw a crash, but it was only like a 12% dip. We lagged in new builds that entire time. New build development stopped. And so because there was such a lag in new builds, that has actually caught up to us, and now it's catching up to us in another way, in a not good way, and that's partly why our prices are going up so high. But let's say there is a market crash. Let's say that there is interest rates go up really high. I just don't see the market crashing. So between now and 5 years, what is 350? Absolutely, I see being 700.
I feel like Austin is in a position when you have these disruptive companies. We are in a position to adapt. You just got to, you have a lot of people that aren't willing to adapt mentally. So take builders, specifically builders. If they would just invest or learn how to work on 3D printed homes, you lose lumber. We've got oil. You can make plastic. Texas is full of oil. We can 3D print homes. Go buy a big printer and make it happen. Like, you can do this if you invest. And I know it's not an overnight fix, right? But that's where people have been looking, and Austin, if anywhere, is one of those places that could support that type of drastic change. You have a lot of people that want to live in their little tiny homes. We have a tiny home community in Austin. Still provides an opportunity for people to have shelter. And these tiny homes, they are 398 square feet, and they are over $100,000. And then you're paying lot rent like $600, $700 a month, and people are happy as sin, just happy as can be. It's like, wow.
Well, I wouldn't say they're happy as sin, but they're. But
well, it depends on your perspective, right? Like what I knew a lady she was like retired Air Force, single. It didn't matter to her. She's like, I just need a place to grow my plants. I'm like, okay.
It depends on your perspective. Ken Lou, we're closing. Ken, we're closing next week. We got bumped a week because of the storm, but Ken, we're closing next week. I guess we got into the new build at just the right time, but doesn't feel like with Austin public roads can sustain the growth. I mean, that just goes into what we were talking about growth in general. Austin, Kevin McKnight, what are your thoughts on prices from here in 5 years from now?
No, there's actually a couple things I'll just mention real quick. One, I talked to one of the builders today, and the ones I talked to up there in Carmel and Pflugerville said, they're now moving to, as of yesterday, they're not even going to pre-sell. They're not pre-selling anything, of course, and they're not going to wait to release inventory homes. They're going to pre-spec every home.
Yep.
Then they're going to wait till cabinet stage and release it to highest bidder. And I think every builder is going to end up doing something like that. I think you're gone. In my opinion, gone are the days of pick your lot, choose your finish. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think there's way less risk available. I think the builders can pre-spec so many more homes and churn them out.
It also depends on the price point too.
Well,
if you're catering to a higher price point, people are going to pay extra for, the builder's going to make more money if the owner or the potential owner is picking out those upgrades, right? Because they're going to charge you more for them.
Yeah.
So it depends on the price point.
If you're larger lots or something, I could see that. Larger lots, I could actually see keeping that. But yeah, I agree with that. That's been happening a lot.
There's 117 condos under $350,000. 117, and I think a lot of these places look perfectly fine. I can tell you,
the problem with all those places is the HOA is $350 a month.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
But it's relative, isn't it? I think it's a relative thing.
If you're going to live there, but if you're going to invest in it, it's kind of, it takes away from your investment. Plus,
I don't disagree with that I don't know. I think so much of investing is intangibles, not just does it make sense dollars and cents on paper. I think that there's a lot of you're taking a risk associated with it. There's going to be some unknowns, or there's going to be some things that you don't like as much. Would you rather have a condo? Okay. Would you rather have a $500,000 house that, you're going to have other maintenance to on? There's good things available to condos. Like a $350 HOA to a condo is essentially, you're filling a reserve of future maintenance on that condo as well. You should be doing the same thing. You should be bumping back $300 a month if you own a single family home as an investor too, because you're going to have to, if you keep that home for 5 or 10 years, you're probably going to have to replace a HVAC system or a water heater or some other things like that. So I think it's very similar. But from a price standpoint, people keep saying this stuff like, okay, it's too late. It's too late to get in. The prices are too high. I've missed the opportunity. We're at the peak of the market. The great example is this. The stock market bled to death this morning. If you wake up early like I do and you look at the futures markets, it was like, oh man, this is not good. Like stocks that I trade that were down 20, 30, 40% this morning, and people got really scared. Well, they recognize value pretty darn quick. Tesla started today down by 850, market opens at 830. They were down 13%.
Jeez.
13% at 830. And guess what? They ended the day after hours trading up like 2%. So people saw the value almost immediately and rushed into this market. I wholeheartedly think and a massive crash could happen. I don't think it will. I mean, I'll say whatever. I think people that say the market's going to crash are just doing it for sensationalism. But I wholeheartedly believe if something did happen like that and prices did decrease rapidly, that smart money would be rushing into this market to grab these deals. And it would bring the price back to where it is at that time, and maybe even more, because there's nothing that changes about this investment.
There's so many people that I've heard that are out on this market, right? They're clients of mine or clients of Ian's or clients of yours, and they've said, I'm going to buy. Then they test the waters. Their foot gets bitten by a shark as soon as they put their toe in. And so they're like, all right, I'm out of this market. It's too crazy. I'm going to wait for it to cool off.
Right.
I think there's so many people waiting for the cool off and so many investors that are sitting going, okay, I can't get 350 now. I'm going to wait for, what was that weird word you said, Ian, earlier? For close something or others? For closures. That's what you said.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's too many syllables. It's hard to remember. Yeah.
Actually, Austin mentioned something here about that we talked about infrastructure. So I want to back up to that one where he says Dripping Springs is booming.
Awesome. I was actually going to click that one. Thank you.
Oh, Dripping Springs is booming. I actually just checked.
Crazy booming.
It's crazy.
And you know why? They can thank me because I've done videos on Circle C versus Dripping Springs. So both areas have exploded. I mean, there's no inventory in either. So you're welcome.
Zero.
Dripping Springs.
I actually just ran this for my ex-wife earlier. She was asking me about, the craziness in the market over there. And she asked me to look up some stuff. I was like, listen, there's nothing. There's absolutely nothing out there. If you look at a price point of, like, I'm looking at the map right now of active and pending and closed. It's all red and orange, which means pending and closed. There's like 5 homes that are even available, or 6 homes, like every price point right now. But the point of that is not that there's low inventory. Yes, there's low inventory. Having owned land in Dripping Springs, I was bullish on developing out in Dripping Springs as well. And the biggest issue that I have is not that the city of Austin isn't embracing the growth. I think that, if I'm being quite honest, I think the Leanders and Cedar Parks, Georgetown's doing a great job. I don't think Dripping Springs is doing a great job of embracing the change and being absolutely proactive about saying, we have to do something. There's 50,000 people in this community and we can handle way more than that because we want them, but we can't handle that from an infrastructure standpoint. I don't think that these communities are doing enough on their side to manage the growth. And so if you want to talk about boomtown from them, I actually think they're the highest at risk, not Austin. I think it's Dripping Springs and some of these other smaller outside communities.
Yeah, Lakeway, Bee Cave. I mean, Bee Cave's already a little more developed than that area, but I think you're right. Bastrop could benefit so much from all of
That's
this.
A big one.
Because they're not far from they're not far from the Tesla factory. They're probably closer than Georgetown to the Tesla factory. They're only 20 minutes maybe to the airport. So a Bastrop, and they have a Buc-ee's. A Buc-ee's?
Yeah, they do have a Buc-ee's.
They have a Buc-ee's?
Let's be honest. It's not a big one.
Yeah, it's a baby, but it has a B in the title and it says Uckies at the end.
But the thing about Bastrop again is infrastructure. It's not. It's actually utility infrastructure there. They don't have enough wastewater treatment. So anything that's going to be developed at the meantime, unless they develop wastewater treatment like Dripping Springs is having to do, and you know what that's caused for them for years. Until they get that done, you're going to have to be on septic systems, and that's just it's a terribly inefficient way to be developing.
Yeah. The what's it called? Eagle Ridge. I have a client that just closed one and probably another one they'll be buying in there. We'll probably write a contract soon. That neighborhood's all on septic. Great area, beautiful area, but man, septic is not fun if you poop a lot. So
please do not YOLO anything on crypto.
Yeah, okay, we're not talking about crypto. And this is the problem is, if Austin is the boom town, that which we already agree that Austin is already the boom town, I think Elon's a little late to the party I think he just finally woke up to realize that Austin is the boomtown. So, hey, Elon, you're late. But 10% growth, like just like Dinosaur D saying, people get upset with me for telling people, even though we're in this crazy market, it's still time to buy, right? Oh, every realtor is going to say it's time to buy. You're just another realtor trying to make money. I mean, how many times on this channel, anywhere in all my videos, I'm like, hire me. I'm ready to help you as your agent. No, I want to give people information, right? Make a best informed decision for yourself. And that's why I bring these lovely gentlemen on. Maybe not Kevin, but definitely just messing. Has anybody heard of this community before?
I don't know Treviso.
Treviso? Never heard of it. Okay. You got Bucky's, I'm in. See, I'm telling you, they just need more infrastructure.
Spot.
Don't know her. All right. So as far as prices goes, Kevin, because that's where we are at. Where do you think price is going for a 350 for a home? 350 now. It's already what 25% higher. But 5 years from now, do you see that home? Where do you see a home like that going? Let's just say in Austin proper.
Well, I never thought that we'd be seeing some of these numbers that I kicked my camera. I didn't think we'd be seeing some of these numbers at some of these 350, 400 price points so quickly. But like in a lot of these homes that last year were 375, 400, I know, are now 500. So that happened in 12 months.
Yeah.
Actually, there's an article today and I can't find it, but it was on LinkedIn. One of the guys, the main writers on LinkedIn, had posted an article that said that, and it wasn't just us, it was that the national real estate market is booming. It's not, and this blows my mind. And this is honestly the reason I don't watch anything except Jeremy's show now. Because I don't trust the sources of any of this information. How many of you guys have heard for months that our real estate market across the country is doomed? It's doomed. It's destined for correction. And then they're like, great, we didn't even make the top list for the fastest growing appreciation. I actually commented, I was like, I don't know why we didn't make this list, because 2019 to 2020, we went up by 25% on median price. And we've increased another 25% from like December till now.
Yeah. And the numbers aren't out yet for January. I've been like waiting, like by the phone for these numbers to come out. Usually they come out like the 17th, 18th. Yeah, because the storm didn't come out. I'm dying to see January. Yeah.
Well, I think it's a way more complicated equation. I think I've mentioned before, like there's algebra and then there's calculus. Mm-hmm. Like this is not an algebraic thing. It's not like a 300 goes to a 5. I think that what happens is that the way I explain it to a lot of people is there's like, I mean, it's hard to explain in a graph, but the closer you are to the city center, typically the prices will raise to a certain level. And when they get to an unacceptable level where people are like, wait a second, I should start looking further out, then they start to geographically slowly leach out further from the city center until that becomes too expensive. And then they start coming back towards the middle of town. And then, so this is how the growth goes. It's like a wave, right? So one of these guys earlier was saying, and I like to invest, or if I'm investing, I would encourage my investors to look down closer to downtown first. Jeremy feels, well, there's two different products. It's two different strategies too. Like I will work harder looking at homes that are closer because I'm looking for additional value. For example, Jeremy's right. You could buy a nice rental property, but the play on that is it's going to be a great rental property for a long time. It's going to build equity. You're going to build a portfolio of homes. They're going to be easily rentable. What I'm also looking at is though, I'm like, hey, could I buy a home in 78704 that's $600,000, but the lot is big enough that eventually down the road is going to be worth way more than that, So there's going to come a point where not every $300,000 home is going to be worth $1 million. Like, let's be honest, right?
And that's a good point, because I had a client reach out to me. They said, "Oh, I want to buy a $750,000 home." I said, "Okay," or I want to buy two $750,000 homes. I said, "Okay, why don't you just buy 1.5 in 04? Well, tell me what you mean. Okay, so we actually put them under contract and closed 1.4 in that range. It had the front house was 2,100 square feet. The back house had a little casita that was renting for $2,000 a month. He's renting the casita for $2,000 a month and the main house for 11 grand or $9,000 a month, 11 total. In 04, the hottest zip code. At any point, he can make both of those Airbnbs if he wanted to. So yeah, so yes, if I think the best zip codes, I will tell people this all day and all night. If you can afford it, the best zip codes are paying up to 1.4, 1.5, and 78704, 78745, which is just south of 290. If you can get something in that 600 to 800 range, that's a really good property that'll rent well. I think that growth, like you're saying, is coming out of those city centers, going up to Allendale, Rosedale, getting something in there like that. I mean, I think those are the best areas to invest if you're going to invest. I'm still not sold on the east side. I know it's growing like crazy, but I think my two favorite spots, I mean, it was crazy. I showed a property listed at 500,000, Kevin, that was a flat out tear down, listed at 500, and the line was out the door to show that property at 9:30 in the morning. It listed like it's 7.
Yeah.
Bizarro world, this market we're in. So
I mean, I don't mind it though. Honestly, I think it forces people to be a little bit creative, and it forces you to do a bit more due diligence. And I don't think everybody should haphazardly. If you're going to invest in something, we're not talking about small sums of money, like tens of thousands of hard-earned dollars going into something over the long period of time. It's a big purchase. So yeah, you should be really evaluating every situation and have a long-term goal. Like, what's your portfolio look like? Are you going to buy one home to rent, or are you going to buy a number of homes over the period of time? And tell Sasank, I think it's not a stacked bell curve. I think it's a triple integral, actually, changing over time.
Oh yeah. Del Valley, the only problem I have with Del Valley still, I mean, if you could find something in 270, 280, go for it for sure. I mean, especially with Tesla actually being built out, my only problem with them still is you got to look at the school ratings there, and then you got to look at the property taxes. Some people aren't prepared. I mean, you can pay 270 for a home, but some people aren't prepared for the tax bill they get the next year. That's just my 2 cents on that.
Well, Easton Park, right? Think about Easton Park. Is that Austin Schools or is that Del Valley?
It's Del Valley.
Yeah. So Del Valley, that's a great example of Del Valley. Easton Park homes were 300,000 when they first opened their doors, right? And they didn't sell very fast.
Yeah.
And now you can't buy a home over there, period, anyway. And the stuff that I was looking at was like between 5 and 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's Del Valley schools, so I don't think I've said this before. Anywhere, Del Valley, Pflugerville, anywhere.
All right. I think if you have more questions about that part of our topic, definitely we'll try to circle back in the Q's part of this, but I want to get to what I think is something that Elon had said in his thing. And, Ian and I had chatted about this. We chatted about a lot of things. People might know this, but I talked to both of these guys probably at least once a day. So we talk a lot, but Elon had said about don't bring it with you coming here. But the identity of Austin, right? I've been here 9 years. The identity of Austin has changed in that 9 years. Good and bad. There's definitely goods and bad of that change. But what do you think the identity of Austin does between now and the next 5 years, Ian?
Well, I think what's important is they're establishing a lot of cultural centers, which I don't know how well you follow these types of projects, but I think things like that are paramount to being able to keep the soul of Austin as it is. And some of their bigger projects, it is a little questionable, but we have to get back to what we're known for. We're known for a lot of these. We're known for concerts and such. I don't know that the music. I don't know how long it'll be before the music scene comes back.
Will the music die?
Will the music die? I don't know. So the cultural centers, I think that's huge. I think making sure that we maintain the feeling of live music in a lot of different places, I think that's huge. I guess I'm going to take an analytical approach and ask, what is it when you say the soul, what is it that you're thinking is leaving?
Well,
besides the fact that it's small, the fact that
ask you this: what do you see?
30 minutes to get everywhere. Like, what's the soul?
I would say the soul for me, for Austin, and I think everybody could be a little bit different, but the heartbeat of Austin is that outdoor friendly living.
Yes,
right.
That's
it's
good.
a young,
perfect.
You have 78704 downtown's definitely changed quite a bit, but you have like that even on the east side, right? You have that walkability. You have that. When you walk around at night, you're like, oh God, I love this city. I love that I'm able to go to this bar, this restaurant. I love that I'm out here. Like, where does that soul of this city go?
I think they're still doing that. I think they're doing more of that now. As they're building things up, they're trying to create more walkability, more bike lanes, more green spaces under these condos.
Prop B, yeah.
Right? I think that's a big part of it. Right, Prop B.
I don't even think we are strike. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
What'd you say?
No, go ahead. Keep talking. I thought you were done. Go ahead.
Yeah, just the fact that they're taking their time to do this and they are keeping it in mind, it speaks volumes to what they're trying to accomplish. The question is, will they actually succeed? That's always the question. We've got all these things planned for Austin, and if we collapse in on ourselves because we're growing too fast, will these ever come to fruition? These projects take a long time. And HEB is buying every corner. I love HEB. They're buying every.
Well, funny. I just did a search for HEBs, and there are not any HEBs anywhere near some of this new growth stuff.
No, there's nothing in Del Valley. They are building one on 71, and they're building one over there.
130 at the corner.
130. So, but otherwise, there has been no grocery store in Del Valley. No decent size.
There's not one in Manor, right?
No.
Why?
So that's an interesting question. Probably because
Maynard's coming.
They have a HEB there. They have an HEB. Oh no, that's Elgin. That's Elgin.
No. Manor does not, or Manor does not have an HEB.
Manor does not. That's Elgin. Yeah.
I think they need to experiment with small footprint HEBs and see how that works for some of these other communities. I did have somebody come from California and they were very disappointed. They said, "Is HEB a serious? Is it a joke?" I was like, "What are you talking about? That place is awesome."
Yeah.
Like they're used to Publix, which I guess I've been to a Publix. I didn't think it was better than HEB, but
yeah.
Maybe you guys have looked at places know better.
So another soul comment, Jeremy, is food truck parks.
Mm.
You look at SoCo and the fact that they kind of rearranged and deranged. They threw Lululemon up, and I like Lulu, but they threw Lululemon up and got rid of all these food trucks that were along. I look at Kevin. He's thinking.
You mean? Oh, I was trying to think about where you're talking about. You mean at the Music Row?
So, yeah. So by Torchy. So there was Hop Dotty, Torchy, all that down there, and they had lots of food trucks lining that whole strip. You don't have anything anymore.
I just feel like what I was going to tell you earlier is I don't think Austin has even hit its stride yet with its culture. I think we haven't even. That's the thing is like. It's okay. Think about yourself. I don't know how old you guys are, but I feel like I'm old as dirt. My birthday was on Friday. I mean, I know that I'm not, but I feel like when I count the years and my 20-year high school reunion was last year, it makes me feel a little bit older. But were you not so much different of a person 10 years ago in your life or 20 years ago in your life? Yeah. Like Austin 10 or 20 years ago, I think that's a culture that it had at that time, but I'm actually way more excited to see what the minds of today, the movers and shakers of our Austin society, I'm excited to see what those people are going to bring to develop this city and its unique culture. Because I see a massive merging of this forward thinking, technological, outdoors, but yet free spirited place, like all of these things merging together and see what it actually looks like long term. And we're seeing parts of it. I like the Music Road development. I'm not saying you don't like it, but I think that Music Road development for me is really an excellent addition. And they're already adding multiple stories to all those restaurants and SoCo
right.
Anyway.
That's how you preserve it, right? So you add the over street view, right? You maintain the food and you make sure that people can play music.
Yeah. And they still will play music. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not like we're getting rid of the rodeo or live music or, I mean,
Or
what else is it about Austin
What-
that people are trying to preserve? I don't understand.
So I moved here almost 10 years ago, and obviously the skyline has changed drastically. I remember for me when I moved here, I used to get off on Davis, and there was nothing but trees.
Yeah.
Right, you couldn't even see anything, and now it's nothing but hospitals on both sides. Not hospitals, but like hospital complexes. So that's crazy for me. I drove last night. So remember Treadgills? They used to be off of Barton Springs.
Yep.
You know, they had all of those right there off Barton Springs, just south of the river. It used to be, you know, a couple little spots. I drove down there last night because Little Dottie's was closed. So I went to Hop Dottie's off of South Congress to get dinner. They have the best margaritas on Monday night. They're half off. Shout out Hop Dottie's. Give me a plug there. Paid sponsorship. But I was like, where have I been? Driving at night, I was lost because everywhere where Treadgills was, where all this stuff was just condos being put up, apartment complexes put up. And I'm like, what the hell happened?
Yeah.
Like, I think for me that
I will say Rainy Street, when they started having all those buildings go up on Rainy Street, I was like, why would they do that? I don't understand it. Right. And you mentioned the skyline. There are a lot of cranes still in the sky.
Yeah.
Fortunately, it's still nice to look at. Like, it still looks fine, but there are a lot of big buildings, big condos that are covering up some of the nature that you want to experience.
I just feel like we agree on a lot of stuff, but I just don't agree with a lot of people on this. Same with Rainy Street. Is Rainy Street cool? Yeah, it's different now than it was 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. And guess what?
Rainy Street was for like 30-year-olds, you know.
Yeah.
Like Sixth Street was for, you know, early 20s.
Early 20s,
yeah. And Rainy Street was for 30-somethings.
Yeah.
Now it's not.
Jeremy, we can't comment on that. Demographics.
No, that's not a protected class.
Yeah.
You can say whatever.
Hello. Yes, they are. 30-year-olds are protected class for at least one more year.
That was the perception that I heard somewhere. Okay.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is, though, guess what? At some point, Rainy Street's not going to be there anymore, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not going to. The city of Austin, in all of its splendor and glory, is not going to preserve Rainy Street and those cute little houses just so you can have some place to go drink on Saturday afternoon. They're not going to do it.
Oh my!
They don't care.
Come on, Bangers.
Bangers is the best sausage. They actually expanded. They doubled. They were like, let's show you how you do it.
What's going to happen is these places are going to pop up all over the city that people like Rock Rose. I mean, have you been to Rock Rose lately?
Yeah.
Like, Rock Rose didn't even exist 3 years ago, and now it's popping.
When I said the micro cities, that's what I'm referring to. They're going to have those everywhere. So you don't have to go downtown to Rainy Street or 6th Street or somewhere or the Drag or wherever to go get your tacos, right? You can go anywhere in any suburb near Austin. Mm-hmm. They're building so many of those. 3 of them in Leander, right? They're building them in Del Valley. They're building them everywhere. Round Rock. That's huge. The velocity, I think somebody brought that up.
The velocity, what?
That's what it's called, right? Velocity?
What is that?
The neighborhood. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I thought you were talking about something.
Sazank, just wanted to say what's up. I saw you were commenting here. I missed you. I just want to take a quick moment. The comments are on fire. If we've ever had a night where comments were just like pounding through, this is the night. And Serlene, working with Ian over there, that's why she was asked. I think she was asking about Del Valley, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Serlene. Good to see you. I'm not drinking tonight. I'm hydrating because, you know, I did that for a whole week while we were in Snowdown.
So get my celery juice.
Yeah, your celery juice. Oh, here we go. Celery juice.
I just thought of another thing that is Austin culture. Right?
Go ahead.
Type of food. So when you're looking at things like Binu coffee, when you're looking at, and I'm not saying Torchy's, but obviously, those types of things that are you only find those here. As long as you don't start getting rid of those and replacing them with Starbucks all over the place, we're good. I think that's important too. That's an important part of Austin, is to be able to go all over and get local everything, local produce, local food, farm to table. That's a big part of Austin. Local brew, both coffee and beer.
Hey, and huge shout out to Meanwhile Brewery for giving people water out of their tanks during last week when we were out of water. Huge shout out to them. I'm gonna be a big fan of them now.
I'm gonna be a-hole mode again, and I'm gonna tell you that I know that some people feel that way, but guess what? We're talking about boomtowns, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The reality is the last couple of months has been the first time I've ever felt like not overwhelmed, but I've felt the growth, like it's trying to keep up with it. You know what I mean? Like wrap my head around everything that's going on. Previously, you guys can agree, it's so easy to just, as the city's growing, you're like, yeah, I know that. Yeah, I know this area. I know what's going on. But things that were popular previously. Okay, have you been to One in a Million?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've stayed with one saying, you know.
I've never been. And guess what? I have no desire to go there.
It's so great. I love it.
Yeah, there's so many other good places.
Here's the thing. It's
the place isn't bad.
Giant burrito. That's what it was for. It's, you know, it's not like it was the best. It was good. It was fine. But
my point is that it's important to the people like that want to pass that culture forward. But absolutely. I think there's going to be so many new people here that are ready to create like a culture with us, instead of like, maybe it's like this. Previously it was like, because it grew slow enough, it's like, hey, welcome to my Austin. Let me show you the things that I like about this city. When it's going to grow so fast that people are like, I'm just going to discover what I like about Austin on my own. And that's what I love about this is I think the Benus and the 100 million, they'll be there. And if they're good businesses, then people will recognize it and keep them in business. Like Cuvée Coffee, I don't think Cuvée Coffee needs to be pumped up. I just need to remind people that it exists. You have a cup of their hot coffee one time and you're like, okay, I get it. It's one of the best coffees I've ever had. Yep. You know, I think the good businesses, and that's why
I got your sponsorship with Cuvée Coffee.
Me?
Yeah.
I don't even drink hot coffee anymore, but I think they have some of the best coffee.
Gordo's closed.
Which
Gordo's
one?
The donut.
The donuts?
Donut one.
They closed?
That's what I heard. That's a perfect example. Food truck. They were right next to Elizabeth Street Cafe. Also phenomenal. It's gone. That's the kind of thing that I'm like, oh man, that is one of those places you would take everybody.
I need to find out if this is true or not.
Yeah, this is a sad day if I found that out.
Snopes for me.
If they are, no.
What effect?
I think that it says that as of last summer they had filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy.
Well, one of my favorite places I used to
in the world. We won't say it, but we know what it is.
Right. One of my favorite places that I used to actually eat at in Phoenix when I went to Arizona State, shout out, go Sun Devils, is Z Tejas. And Z Tejas, the original one, is still on 6th Street. They went on foreclosure. What is it? Oh, God. Bankruptcy. Thank you. So they went on bankruptcy, and then they got new management, and the food's not quite as good as it once was, but that's okay. The north location, the one up, God, where is that? In the Arboretum, that one's legit. I love that location. Holy smokes.
Yeah,
Mark,
incredible.
Thank you, man. Don't underestimate the east side. But 888 food is a legend. I've never had that. Have you guys had? And thank you so much, man. I appreciate you.
A round on Mark.
Awesome. Yeah, Mark, we're going to have to take you out for some shots.
888 Food Company, Pan Asian.
888. Yeah, I've never heard of it.
That's what I actually like, the fact that we're kind of crowdsourcing with the new folks that are coming here. We're crowdsourcing the new favorite spots. I guess that's kind of my point. I want to eat at different places. This place I ate at, the Moxie place, has a little place called Zombie Taco downstairs.
Okay.
They only had a few times. Oh my gosh, they had the best breakfast tacos I've ever had in my life.
Oh, shout
and
out.
I would have never gone there, because everybody that has lived in Austin forever would be like, no, you need to go to XYZ Taco.
I'm with you. I'm from Chicago. I visited here before I moved. Obviously, I spent 1 week here. The first place I went for breakfast, it was on like Congress and 2nd or something like that. And it was the bottom of a building, a little hotel, or the bottom of a hotel, and it was a taco place. And I remember walking in there and I'm thinking, breakfast tacos. That was such a life-changing experience because you never would have found the place. You're thinking, seriously, it's in the bottom of a hotel. Like it's got to be trash. And it was so darn good. So good. And that experience continues almost, I would say, multiple times a week. I'm just wowed by the food because, like you, Kevin, I just try going to all sorts of places as much as I can.
Yeah. I'm just concerned that the food truck culture is it's so temporary. Restaurants here are so temporary anyway.
They are.
I even hesitate to recommend a restaurant to somebody because by the time they open, they're already closed.
Yeah, but that's not just here. That's everywhere.
No, I understand that that's the case.
But that's just right now. I hope that's right now. Uchi, look at that.
Uchi. Oh, Uchi. We talk about good places. Valentina's Tacos or Valentina's Tex-Mex Barbecue. That is the legit best place in Austin for barbecue. Fight me if you want. You don't need to try it.
I don't agree. I've had it. It was that great.
Via 313.
What? All right, Kevin's off the stream. Hold on. Let's take Kevin off. Let's take Kevin off. Remove. Boom. Okay. So Kevin's gone. He just said the most blasphemy thing in the world.
What did he say? I missed it. What did he say?
He said Valentina's wasn't as good.
I just said it wasn't as good as people say that it is.
Yeah, get out.
Also, it was 1,000 degrees the day I ate there.
Jeremy, I'm going there tomorrow.
Okay. I'll clear my schedule. Right. I think we have a walk somewhere.
I got to drop off. Yeah, I got to drop off the car at 9:30.
Oh, it's already broken?
No, it's not, bro. I'm just getting some changes.
Oh, you get some gas in it?
Something like that. Some gas. I'll pull up at the gas station.
All right, we've hit the food scene. I don't see the food scene changing too much. I think we will see some new influx of good stuff. I hope that wasn't here before. But let's go to the, because we're going to be here like 6 hours tonight. If people want to see 6 hours of video with us, we can do it. But identity, what was the next part? Oh, yeah. So let's talk about what everybody on this channel always asks. What about Treviso? Yeah, no. So no, let's talk about, I think, what people want to know then, right? If Austin is going to be this boomtown and prices are going to expand and they're going to go crazy, where should people buy now? And where will the biggest places be that are going to explode over the next 5 years, really, if we are this boomtown? Mm-hmm. I'll start with Ian, because you're on top.
So I think it's, I like it. Anyway, I think it's interesting because Kevin's mentioned this a few times. Jeremy, you've said it too. You can almost not go wrong in where you buy, but I think the question is what will move the fastest. And I think there are two schools of thought, three schools really. So you've got really high growth north and northwest, specifically northwest, more than anything, because you have so much happening in the Leander, Georgetown, Liberty Hill, Tri-City place.
Why not was ready for you.
Yeah, that Tri-City area, for example, Santa Rita Ranch, 6,500 homes. That's just one of the many, many large developments, and they're putting all that stuff in Cedar Park and in Georgetown. That's huge. Then, and the closest thing to that in proximity is like Apple. Right, their new campuses, and so there's a little bit going on out there. East, I think there's no question about East. You have an airport and so much undeveloped opportunity that it can grow east for an hour drive time without having an issue easily. Bastrop, I think it'll grow rapidly until it hits Bastrop, and even then it'll still continue to grow a little further because all you're doing is heading toward Houston that way. And then south, I'm going to let you talk about that one, Jeremy.
Well, Joel's been very patient on my channel. He's buying out in Bee Cave. Okay. He had said earlier that they were unsure about their purchase when they put under contract in August based on the price that it was going. Yeah. But that neighborhood that he purchased in, he's already done quite well, and he doesn't close for probably another couple months. So Joel, good on you, my friend, for getting out there where you did. I won't say the neighborhood, but it's in Bee Cave. I just don't want to blow up your spot. So yes. And then Serlene wants us to say three nice things about the Valley. It's in East Austin. It's going to explode. It's close to Tesla, and it's close to the airport.
Yep.
There you go.
It's also close to Coda.
And it's close to Coda. Oh,
it's right next to, like, really? And don't they have a surf thing out there? And isn't that also where they moved the new graffiti park? Like, they're building so much that.
Yeah. So I think for me, and I'm going to let Kevin chime in, I think all of the suburbs that are around Austin are all going to see huge explosion in growth. They're already seeing it now. I think those areas have the best ability to expand. So whether it's Georgetown, Leander, Dripping Springs, Kyle, Buda, Manor, all of those areas have so much room for growth. I don't think you can like pick one and be bad unless you're buying one that doesn't have an HEB yet.
Or maybe
wait, but if you're buying one that doesn't have an HEB yet and then it gets an HEB, boom, money, baby.
Yep.
Money. Yep. Unless you're buying in Treviso. Go ahead, Kevin.
I think you know my answer, right?
I know your answer, but I always like to hear your mullet talk, man.
I don't think that there's a bad place anywhere, and I think there's good. And I'm not copping out because I'm going to give it another answer, by the way. I don't think that there's a bad place anywhere to buy right now. And I do think it comes down to one of the most important things that I tell my clients when I'm buying is that I set you up for success when you buy, not when you sell. And I can tell whenever my clients walk into a home, whether they're going to long-term like it or not. In fact, the handful of times that people have decided to go buy homes that I knew weren't resonating with them, within a short period of time, they asked to go sell their home because they didn't like it. So I do think it comes down to the feel of the area and the community that you think you're going to like. Because if I told you to go like with the food, if I tell you to go eat at a restaurant and then you hate their food, you're gonna be like, that guy's an idiot. Like I don't even like that kind of food, you know? Yeah. What I like might not be what you like. So, but if you're talking about, you know, areas that I personally think have good potential, I love Austin proper as an investment. I think if your budget allows it, you should exhaust the options with as close to the city center as you can. But I also like, you know, for other reasons, Georgetown. I think Georgetown is great.
They still have a lot of land.
I think there's tons of land. I think that they have a established, cute, historic downtown. Yeah. They've managed growth very, very well. They also have a really strong outdoor community as well. They have, you know, like Georgetown. They have the San Gabriel River. Yeah. They have some beautiful vistas. They've got farmland. I mean, I don't think you can go wrong with Georgetown, to be kind of honest with you. In fact, I just randomly popped this up. Like, if anybody wants to buy this home, I'm happy to represent you. 308 East University Avenue in Georgetown is a gorgeous 4,600 square foot, 0.67 acre home, historic plantation style, gorgeous, 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 gorgeous home. And it's only $1.3 million. I know that's a lot. No, I mean, I understand that.
I saw that house. Okay.
But that house is gorgeous. Okay. And $1.3 million doesn't go very far in Austin as far as luxury properties go. But this is an incredible, and this is just kind of a microcosm of, you can get a historic home. You can get a newer home. There's lots of good growth up there. The prices are still pretty affordable. I'm just kind of bullish on Georgetown. I like Dripping Springs too. But if Dripping Springs had the same foresight that Georgetown did, I think Dripping Springs would already be twice the size. I'm thinking Dripping Springs is lagging a little bit on that curve. That's just my personal opinion. So Austin first. I like Georgetown. I like Dripping Springs.
That's
what big lake is in Dripping Springs?
Well, there's no lake in Dripping Springs.
There's your sign.
There's a river that goes through Calaterra.
There's an aquifer that runs through the entire place. So there's your water.
Yeah.
There's a little bit.
Yeah, it's only 20 minutes to Lake Travis or 25 minutes to Lake Travis. Yeah. So
you still have to travel. In Georgetown, you can.
Can you take a motorboat on Georgetown Lake?
Ooh.
But it's not but you assume that everybody that wants to be near a lake wants to do water sports.
Right, you're right. No, some people just like it. Lake Pflugerville, it's a beautiful walking path. People love it.
People just like lakes sometimes just to have a lake. Yeah. And the people that like Lake Austin don't like Lake Travis, and the people that like Lake Travis don't like Lake Austin, which is just a river anyway.
Yeah, well, you're not swimming in Lake Austin.
I'm gonna give you all the answer to this question because you all have missed it. The best neighborhood or the best area to purchase in is the area that you can afford, because no matter what, you're going to see growth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
right?
I absolutely agree with that. And we were talking a lot earlier, and you guys were hitting like investor, and I'm thinking, but there are a lot of people that, while they are investing, any property you purchase is an investment, right? We're talking about people that have, families with 3 kids and their job is changing. They just need a place to stay.
Mm-hmm.
They're not worried about, they can't fit in a 2-2 condo or 2-1 condo.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to hear my biggest mistake? This is my biggest mistake in real estate. We purchased a home in Sindera. It's Deer Haven right next to it. We paid $275 for it. Turned around, sold a couple years later for $420, and then we bought our new house. And Eileen and I kept saying, God, I mean, we made good money on that house, but we kept saying, oh man, we really wish we had hung on to that house. We should have just hung on to that house because we would have made great rental out of it. Mm-hmm. That house could easily sell for almost $6 million. And that was 2.5 years ago we sold that house. So the reason why I say that is that purchasing a property and holding on to it in Austin and then moving up, but holding on to that property, keeping a rental property. Now we're out trying to have to buy rental properties when I had a great rental property. Mm-hmm. Maybe I wasn't in the best position to hang on to it at that point, but my biggest regret in real estate was selling that house when I did. I mean, I still did really well on it, don't get me wrong, but now I'm having to purchase property. So for anyone that's trying just to get into a home, do it, right? Because 2-3 years from now, when you're ready to move up, hopefully inventory will be better. Hopefully you can actually build. Hopefully prices aren't crazy. And then you have a great rental property. And so even to Ian's point, you might not be investing, but you are investing. And I've said that on my channel in the past. So my biggest regret was selling that property. I wish I would have held on to it.
One of my mentors in real estate actually told me that he only sold one property ever. And I think the old adage is that most people that do invest regret any property that they've ever sold. And I can attest to that. Even though the properties that I previously owned were in places that didn't really massively appreciate, there's rental potential there that you're building equity over time. Like my first home that I bought when I was 20 whatever years old, I would be on the tail end of paying off the mortgage, and I'd own that free and clear, and it would have been renting this whole time. And so it probably would have been a wise idea for me to just hold on to that and rent it out and carry the note. But Jeremy nailed it. And I think you're probably right. Like we mentioned a little bit, but you got to like it more than anything, right? Not everybody's like, oh, does this make dollars and cents? Well, are you going to buy something just because, like, if buying something strictly made dollars and cents before Tesla came around, you'd buy a Prius, right?
Yeah.
That would be dead in a Prius. But financially, it makes a lot of sense. But I like vehicles that get terrible gas mileage because they're fun. So I buy things that are fun, not because they're good financial decisions. So do you want to be happy? Do you want to live in a place that you like? Are you going to spend a little bit more money to put your kids in the school district or be close to the things that you want? I've said that every stream that we've done together, Jeremy, I've said the same thing. People are like, what about this? What about that? If you like it and you can afford it, do it. We're not going to tell you not to. And we wouldn't tell you not to anyway, but
we'll give you the pros and cons for sure, right? If you're buying an area with a huge tax rate, we're going to let you know. Be prepared for it.
That's Jeremy's job, is to talk. I'm the dream killer, of course, too, though. But I look at some of my previous home purchases, like, I regret any of those purchases. We sold a home in Dripping Springs that would probably be worth double what it was worth purchased for 6, 7, 8 years ago. So you just never know.
John, going back to the investor thing, I don't see how any rental in Austin cash flows. Yeah, it's tough. If you're buying something at $450 when it should be at $350, putting 25% down, plus maybe a little bit more, you're probably not breaking even. And on top of that, next year, if it is a rental property, you have less ability to mitigate how much the taxes go up, right? Because you can't have a homestead on it. So yeah, rental properties are tough, and that's why I'm having a tougher time buying in Austin. Wink, wink. Next week's video, watch it. Nobody's got one person got it actually, but nobody else has hit it yet. So, but they did mention that Kevin is in fact the dream killer.
I'm the dream.
I want a cool nickname. Gosh.
But are you?
Okay,
are you?
Everyone, please take a moment. Everyone, stop what you're doing and come up with a cool nickname for Ian. I would appreciate it. He would appreciate it. I mean, not everybody can be Dinosaur D, right? But I want a cool nickname for Ian. Let's think about it. Let's get him a good one. Austin E says, I used to live at Headwaters, best used in Dripping Springs. You can get much more for your money, though. We went with Arrowhead Ranch.
Hey, Arrowhead Ranch, I think is one of the best deals in Dripping Springs.
Yep.
There's city water, low tax rate, good price homes. The only reason people didn't buy them up out of the gate is because it was a little far west.
It's further west. Yep. That's why, like, Joel purchased a little bit higher tax rate, 2.7, where he bought, but the property values and it's closer than going further out. So
yeah.
Anyway, Ian B. Scene, come on, that's Mark. That's a good effort, Mark. I'm not going to get mad at you, but it's a decent effort, Mark. I know you're better than that.
But that one, the guy that said that there's no way to cash flow, like,
yeah.
Okay, are you buying that to make $100 a month?
Right.
Anyway, like,
right.
how much do you want it to cash flow? I guess is the question.
That's the question.
Do you need an extra $100? Are you going to outlay, like a $400,000 house? You can talk about $100,000 now strictly to make $100 a month. I'd say that's a bad investment. If you want to do that, you give me $100,000 and I'll give you $100 a month for eternity. And I'm going to go take that money. I'm going to make a ton more than that, off of that money. So you're not just buying it because you want to make cash flow. You're buying it because you're concurrently covering your mortgage and expenses, or at least closely doing it, and building equity at the same time.
So you're going to give them
in the appreciation.
You're going to give them $100 back for 12 months, and then next year they're going to owe you $100 every month because taxes went up.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, you're going to be paying. That's the tough part, is that you are going to be paying. If you're barely cutting it next year, you're not going to be able to raise the rental rates as much as you think you can, especially when taxes go up. So yeah. So do we got some good names coming in yet here? Is Airbnb a good option, Austin? Can you even get an Airbnb license anymore in Austin? Is that possible?
I don't even know if they.
I don't think you
I
can.
know people that are doing it regardless.
Right.
Yeah. So to get the permitting for it, it's a tricky. I don't know how to answer that question.
But just buy something that's not in city limits of Austin and do the same thing.
As long as you're not in the city limits, you can do whatever you want. Yeah.
Buy an ETJ. That's the other thing too. I don't know if you talk about that much, but like ETJ buys are way good deals. I mean, we've talked about that before, that your dollar can go further in ETJs.
So Kevin, the dream killer, perfectly. That's 100%. And Ian, the green monster.
That's the
background.
What's the story behind the green wall?
I'm going to put stuff on it. Here's the thing. Originally, I was like, you know what? I could have it green. And then if I ever wanted a green screen, I could just, remove it from the video.
And then he got lazy and didn't want to paint it blue.
Yeah, I don't want to repaint it either. But to answer your question earlier, it looks like you'll still get approved for a short-term rental license.
Oh, okay.
$600.
Somebody told me you can.
Renewal every year.
Yeah. Jesse Flores, I want to tell you something. In San Marcos, I had a client purchased 15-acre lot. In 2 years, they doubled their money.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
In 2 years, we just closed on it last Friday, or the Friday before the crazy storm. And they doubled their money selling that in 2 years. So yeah, San Marcos.
They didn't cash flow on the property. So
I think Kyle's
it's vacant land.
Oh, okay. Well, they didn't cash flow on that, did they?
I love Kyle right now as far as investing goes.
Actually, that's not true. You could charge storage fees for that, with as many.
Well, here's the thing. Can you find spots in Kyle? That will sell to investors. But that aside, 100%. Kyle, I'll say it over and over and over again. Kyle and Buda are my two most underrated cities surrounding, or suburbs surrounding Austin. I would say that about Dripping Springs, but I love Dripping Springs, and everybody knows that. On this channel, I've been called a homer for Dripping Springs. So, in fact, Eileen asked me if we could move there today.
I get it.
Homer, not yeah. All right. I think he bought in, buds.
I think you mean
no, Buda. No, I wish I did, but I did not. You guys are close. Y'all are close. Yeah. And nobody's caught a name for Ian yet. What's going on here?
I know.
Is there public transportation in surrounding areas like Manor and Bastrop? The answer, Ian?
There is nothing out there. But that's kind of the exciting part about it, right? Like, we know that things are coming. There is nothing.
All right, Santank, you get the prize tonight. The prize will be this rock that is on my table.
Exciting.
Ian, you are now the Green Beret.
Green Beret.
Boom. The ode to the green wall. I love it.
Go get a green hat. Let's probably do that.
Magic.
Jeremy,
Ian.
one night we should do just going through properties.
Okay, see the little thing down there? It says share. Click on share, and then add your screen.
I am not showing you my desktop right now. That's way too risky.
You don't have to show your desktop if you click on share.
Nope, I'm not.
Click on share.
Or a tab too.
Click on share screen. When you go onto it, you can pick the application window.
I'm not gonna do it.
He's not doing it. He's like, I don't want to see my browser history, I think is what's happening.
Browser history.
Well, but if you open it up, it'll, if you do a drop down, it'll show up. So
yeah, I showed my email earlier.
Like he shared his email earlier on accident.
I don't even hand my phone to somebody. Hey, look at this picture and hand it to them. Do not swipe. You don't swipe. You get to look at that picture. Just don't swipe.
I had a friend go to show me pictures in his phone.
Yeah.
And he was swiping through his phone to show me a picture. I'll never make that mistake again. I won't tell you what I saw, but I saw his name. Okay. Yeah. Boom. There we go. Am I on? Can you see me?
Yeah.
Where am I at? All right. So I will brave the screen sharing responsibilities here. So for anyone that's curious, this is every property that just listed today.
Active, right?
Active.
Yeah.
And if you look how many closed today, 136, 49 active, but that's all of the MLS. It's not just Austin. It's not just, that's everything.
That's it.
Georgetown. This is nothing
today though. That's not all active inventory. That's just listed today.
Okay.
In the last, listed. You're right. Yeah. I thought it was listed in 7 days.
Look at this. Look at this. All active right here. Look at the bottom of the screen. 1426. And that's in our entire MLS.
I think our days on market or inventory days on market is less than 10 days now.
Wow. So if anybody wants to come buy this house right here, yeah, I'm actually negotiating on this one right here right now.
Oh yeah, that escarpment property is beautiful.
We're very close on this one.
It's a good one.
What?
Oh, Jeremy, stay out of the luxury market.
Yeah, we're negotiating on this right now. Talk about a castle.
That's gorgeous.
That one is.
One night I'd like to go through, and maybe I'll do this on my own streams, and I'll invite you to mine next time. Okay.
I don't trust your screen to be on your streams though.
It's just anime girls.
Jeez. Okay. Cut the stream. Cut it.
I'm joking.
What about Cedar Creek? So this is part of the what is it? Is it Double Eagle Ridge? I think is the name of the neighborhood. Is really Cedar Creek area, but it's Bastrop. Those are those acre lots. You can get a killer property under 600. A killer property. It's a Dark Knight new pad for $5 million. That is not for me. It's for a client. I wouldn't spend. I don't know if I'd spend $5. Would you? That's a good question. Would you spend $5 million on a property?
No.
Come on, Green.
No,
Come on, Green man.
Like, what?
Well, no, that's a trick question.
It is a trick question.
Because with the money that I make today,
Talking about multifamily or right? You're talking about one single family residence.
Yeah.
Actually, I did Dinosaur D. I just bought like 12 video cards so I could just do that on my own for sure.
Not 3080s. If you got 3080s, you better sell me two now.
No, I can show you where to pre-order them though.
I just bought a computer with a 3060 in it so I can throw the computer away and use the 3060.
I know. The regular 3060 comes out on the 25th. I just have a 1060 in it, so no. So the assumption though is you're putting yourself. This is a whole different conversation though. It's like setting your thermostat, your financial thermostat. I could see myself buying a $5 million property because that means I'm making enough money to afford that.
Yeah.
And how many people that are buying $5 million properties? I would say, I don't know the specific number, but I'd say over 2 million. I'd say the majority of those purchases are actually in cash. Would you agree?
Yeah. A lot of the multi-million-dollar list properties that we've bought or sold have been cash.
So would I park? There's a property that came up last week for $3 million in Westlake, and it went for more than that. But with a few wrench turns, with like $500,000 worth of work, that property would easily be worth $2 million more. So yeah, I would, because I think a big investment like that the ceiling could be much higher. And that's why for me, like I think there's good investments across the board. I don't think you should just say I want to stay in this one price point with this kind of home, because I think there are other really great opportunities. There's a cool property in Dripping Springs right now on Spring Creek. Where's that one at?
What's it priced at?
201 Spring Creek. It's $780,000. Okay. It's 8 acres with views in a crappy 2,500 square foot house.
It's already under contract, man. It's not even on here.
No, it's 201 Spring Creek in Dripping Springs. It's out on Bell Spring Ranches, Wes. What are you searching by?
He's just got active.
I'm doing over $1.5 million. Sorry.
Oh no, it's $780,000.
Yeah, I did.
But that property, for example, okay, let's talk about that. I want to talk about this one real quick because for me it's a good example. 780. If you were able to put it as an investment potential, let's say you offered them 750, and then you put 20% down. That's 150, right? So, but with a little bit of work, I think this is easily $1 million property. So in a case like this, I think it makes a lot of sense to raise your budget to something that's a little bit higher. Take the gains and go do something else with it. What's the commute look like if you're living outside of Austin?
Yeah, it's right now. It's not too bad.
I don't know. I don't live outside of Austin, so I don't know.
If you live south and you have to drive north or vice versa, that's going to be a problem.
Yep.
Period.
Yeah, I mean,
or east and you want to drive west, that's going to be a problem.
And somebody had said earlier in the comments, they'd said they talked about that companies are incentivizing people to work from home. So right now, traffic is not as bad as it has been. But I imagine all these people moving here, and let's say there is a push for the people, coming out to work for Tesla or Facebook, whatever, to be in office. Holy crap!
I feel like we're at one quarter of what it would be if everything went back to people just working remote.
Oh, Dinosaur D had a question I want you to bring up when you guys are done talking.
The $2 million one?
Yes.
If you guys had $2 million to invest, this is a great question.
That's
would
a great
you buy
question.
one $2 million property, or would you buy 4 at $550K?
I would buy 20 at $400K. Because you're that's 25% down, or 10 at $400K, right? 10 at 400K. No, 20. 100 grand. 20 homes.
I think
I wouldn't pay cash. I would leverage that money.
You're not talking about cash. That's the thing. So you're talking about leveraging.
I would leverage that $2 million into as 20% down on the next properties. And I would shoot for that 300,000 or 400,000. Well, not necessarily. It just depends on what the deals are, and if you're just really wanting appreciation. But
yeah, because if you're if you're putting 20% down and you're paying 100,000 over value or 25, you'd have to actually do 25% 25%, right?
25. That's what I did was 25%.
Okay.
20. Well, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Thing here said twice about this address. Do you own this property? Are you trying to sell it? Yeah, I'm gonna pull it up. I think I've seen this property. I think I know which one it is. It's like got 4 units in it.
Oh, it's kind of cool. I think that's neat.
Yeah, garden. That's right, garden. Is it like 4 units? Is that what it is?
No, it's just a 4-bedroom place. 2,000 square feet, $500.
Yeah. There's one that listed for 1.5 that's like 4 units. I sent it to one of my clients. Yeah, this is a cool property. Ooh, this is actually a really cool property.
That's really cool property.
I sent this to one of my LA clients actually. Yeah, I like that property.
The only thing I wouldn't love about that one necessarily is that just the proximity to 290/71.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's a great deal. And if you look at the location on that one, it does back to an apartment complex, but you're pretty close to some greenbelt action there too. But looks like a railroad track behind it too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, railroad tracks are a fact of life here.
Not far.
Oh, get that off. Okay, cool. All right, Kevin, would you be able to take that much leverage on would banks go for it? I'm sure
you could take on, again, I think you've got to, the old professional or the personal development adage is you have to set your thermostat differently. So you're thinking in terms of what you would be doing with that right now, but you have to put yourself in the terms of like, what would a massively wealthy person do in a case like that? They would find every way to leverage that. You're not going to call Quicken and do that. I think, and I'm not trying, I hope that didn't sound like an asshole when I said that, but
you did. You're dream killer.
You're not going to go to a Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac lender probably and do that. You can buy up to 10 homes on your own with traditional Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac loans though, just so you know, you could buy 10 homes. And yes, they wouldn't give you a problem doing that. But what you would do is you would go to a portfolio lender and leverage their.
Yeah, but you're going to pay 6.5%.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
not all portfolios are doing that much money, much interest right now.
Yeah, I don't know that I love the idea of buying multifamily because you're just having to go after more people to get your money back, right? To get your rents. I do like what my client did when he bought that $1.45 million house in Zilker with an 8 unit. Like that thing was killer. When we found that, it's fun. This is the funniest part. We had our Zoom call. We're talking. I was like, "What about this house?" I literally drove out, videoed it for him. We were a contract and they were in a contract. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Sound the DJ, huh?
Hey, tell him that. What about the multifamily too? Like, I feel like I'm just chatty Cathy tonight, but I've got a lot of shit to say. A lot of stuff to say. I think that there's a reason they do the multifamily on a 1 to 4 contract where you can do up to 4 a quadplex, right? Under standard loan terms under the 1 to 4 family contract, right?
Exactly.
Jeremy's right though. In one way that you'd have a lot more people that you're chasing money, but you cross over to an economy of scale of the number of units that you have where it is definitely worthwhile. And for me personally, I think that number for homes is probably about 10 homes. I think around 10, if you're going to own 10 homes or if you're going to buy an apartment complex, well, the apartment complex isn't a strict 10 unit number either. It's based on the submarket. And then you're going to have to look at your operating costs overall and make sure it's worth your time. But I wouldn't completely poo-poo the idea of a multifamily, but you have to understand it takes a lot more work than what you think.
Yeah.
Like
you're
going to be spending all of your time managing something like that for a while.
It's a lot of time. And that's what you got to figure out what's, your was it cost, God, my brain's not working tonight. Cost benefit analysis. Steiner Ranch. Yes.
Just yes.
Just yes.
3. Can we get 3 yeses, Kevin?
Steiner Ranch?
Yeah.
Troy perfectly nailed it. Nice, but hard to get in and out of.
There's one
great
straight
unless you have a helicopter and you live at the end of the street down there at the very end, which I've been to that house. It's pretty freaking cool. Yeah, unless you're one of those people that lives in a $13 million house on Lake Austin at the end of Steiner Ranch, and you got a helicopter and a wine vineyard and those lions that shoot water across the pool. I've seen that. It's pretty bad a house. If you have to use Quicken, Mary Rich, get your credit up and make sure you have a tenant to buy equity. Real quick, can we just talk about how beautiful Kevin's mullet is?
Yeah, I was going to say, you can't see it unless he turns his head.
Yeah.
Here.
There you go.
There you go. Perfect. All right. My team and I are starting to move here, and we're all looking at Austin Colonies, Del Valle, and others. What are your thoughts on Bastrop? Answer is yes. All of those areas, I think. I mean, look, we just sat. I mean, if you're late to the game here, we basically said anywhere you can find a property, go ahead and lock it in, because with Austin being the boom town that it already is and going to be, there's pros and cons to every area. But Bastrop, I think, is one of those areas. It's pretty underrated right now. And 5 years from now, you're going to be happy that you purchased there. You might not be happy for a couple of years because you're not going to see growth. You're going to have to stop at Buc-ee's, which is fantastic, but you're not going to have HEB. But they do have an HEB out there now, don't they?
They do. They have an HEB out.
Further out. They do. Okay.
Yeah, Walmart.
Yeah, and they have a Walmart.
Yeah. See, so
but they also, I mean, they have the big state park there, right? You've got Lake
Dinosaur Park. They have a dinosaur park.
Lake Bastrop out there. It's beautiful. They have a nice downtown. It's not, I wouldn't say it compares to Georgetown's downtown, but it's a really nice little downtown. There's a lot to do out there.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think the reason why Bastrop is so underrated is because of the Bastrop fires that happened 10, 11 years ago. I think that is why, and it wasn't even Bastrop's fault. Somebody lit fires. Caught fires and burned down half of Bastrop. I think that's why Bastrop is not as in vogue as it could have been had it not been for those fires.
Dinosaur D is 3 Austineers. That's good.
I don't actually agree with that. I don't. Yeah. I'm telling people to sell. Actually, right now we want more people to sell their homes. Is what
that's right. Yeah, because we want to buy more properties ourselves.
Our buyers are
getting killed.
They're getting killed right now. I've written 15 offers in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
One stuck.
I've got a listing coming in Brushy Creek, and you know what that's going to do.
Yeah, I already sent you an offer on it.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about the deal.
I didn't even look at it. I said, okay, what do you want? He's like, oh, it's going to be listed around 500. I said, okay, 530 cash. Here you go.
Yeah.
It's there you go.
Crazy. That's how bad it is. Like, if you find an off market and someone's willing to hold that for you, it is just, that's gold. I don't think people understand.
Yeah. This is a good question. How do I handle this as a realtor? I've done this on my channel. I've talked about diversity on my channel, and this is the easiest way to do it. You go to bestplaces.net. You click on people stats. Come on now. And then you add it to the live stream.
The thing that's really frustrating about this bestplaces.net wasn't this, like, they recently did the demo studies, the demographics, right? Like, it's the census. So this isn't even this is 10 years ago.
Yeah, this isn't up to
that anymore.
I like city-data.com.
Okay, let's try city-data.
Yeah, but even still, all of it's going to rely on the census data, right?
I don't know. I don't know that this does.
And if it doesn't, great.
.com?
2019.
Wow.
2019, that's good. That's good.
I don't like this one as much.
Because you're not a nerd, Jeremy.
Right.
You got to be. Are you not turtly enough for the Turtle Club?
Turtle. That's a good.
Oh my God. All right. You're back off the stream, Kevin. All right. Let's see. What is the demographics? Okay, here you go. This is almost identical. This is almost identical to what I showed you the other one.
That's like saying MLS and Zillow are identical.
Well, the other said, okay, this number was like 49%. This is 48.8. I mean, it's barely off. So,
Right.
I mean, that's still
Maybe it's only changed that much in 5 years or so.
Yeah.
I don't know. How do you define diverse? Like,
I know that's the other thing.
literally on, race or like cultural differences or religious differences, or like there's so many ways that you can.
Right. It's really tough.
Say diversity.
So Mark, this is how we do it. We tell you which websites to go so you can get the analytics for yourself. I mean, I've talked about it on my one of the videos where that guy was, said he hated moving to Austin, and there was no diversity in Austin. So I just went, well, here's the information, and just pointed to it. I didn't tell you what it was. I just showed it to you. So that's how you handle it. I mean, you can tell people where to go to find information.
That data actually is only for Austin, though. That does not include Leander, Georgia, Pflugerville, any of the outlying areas at all. You have to look at those.
Right. You're going to have to do that. Look at those areas as well. So I feel you guys, probably so much paperwork, and conversion rate is terrible. That's why I keep telling people to buy in the $2 million range. At least you have a little bit more to work with. Well,
Jeremy's wrong.
The conversion rate is tough if you're buying. If you're listing, you have a lot of offers that you have to get.
If you're in the listing side, the conversion rate is 100%.
Actually,
exactly.
If your budget is up to about $3 million right now, you're all in the same boat. Just so you know.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, my client that's up to 5. I mean, we're very limited options, and they're trying to make that one at 5 million work. And
there's a new one at 5 today, Jeremy. Did you not see that one?
Where?
I actually liked it a lot. Let me see if I can find that one. No.
Did the winter storm last week slow down the market at all? No. What it did is cause less inventory, which made it even harder. There's no diversity in Austin. Really, all Austin is okay. I didn't see that.
Who's that?
I appreciate the comment. Not going to put it on the stream. You can't WFH. I don't know what that means for Tesla plant.
What's WFH?
Work from home.
Or Tesla plant. Yeah. That makes Texas T. Hello, Tony. Oh, it's just coming. Okay.
So I think that's. I don't know if that's a misconception. You might not be able to, but we also don't know what all of the work. I don't know all of the variability of the jobs, right? So there are a lot of jobs, their IT staff, they can work from home.
Yeah.
Because it's a manufacturing plant doesn't mean you don't have a large pool of people that can work remote.
Jeremy, it's $6.5 million. It's 1855 Westlake Drive.
I saw that one. I saw that one on the luxury market before.
It's a beautiful 1 acre. That's beautiful.
Yeah, I sent that to my client because I have access. A lot of stuff comes from the Austin luxury market, which is all off market. So there's that stuff available. All right, let's see. Do you think we need to access a new home? Need to assess a new home. I can't read, guys. My brain hurts.
Being built more stringently given the power outages. Water was hooked up, but no drywall. Worried water damage could be covered up, or too crazy to assume.
It's possible. I've seen stuff happen with new builds like this before, where mold gets behind the wall during a crazy rainstorm. I would definitely have an inspection done, third-party inspection.
Sooner rather than later.
It's interesting. I did that today. We had a post-storm inspection instead of a final walk. Right.
Okay. Yeah.
And that was in Leander. So.
In Leander.
Yep.
Seeing the quality of Tesla cars, I feel they operate machines from home. Sorry, Ian.
Don't apologize to me. I'm happy.
I like this Mark guy.
Maybe.
Yeah. Mark, you know what, Mark? You're on the stream next week. Kevin, you're off.
Heck yeah. I actually really like that idea.
Wait. Mark
no, I'm just kidding. Mark on, though.
Mark, hit me up. You're on the stream next week. We'll make a fourth box for you. Y'all should have some real seminars because the information is realistic and not plastic. I appreciate that, and thank you, man. $50. I appreciate that. I think that's there's a lot of agents that have real estate channels in Austin. What I like about what we do on this channel and why I have guys like these guys on, and we've had lots of great women on the channel as well, is that I would rather give people good quality information versus sell them anything. And one thing I hate is those people that come into real estate groups, like for real estate agents, and try to sell real estate agents crap. I hate it. I hate it.
That's the worst.
One of the best ways to make money in real estate is sell crap to real estate agents. And so I hate that. Everything I do, I have a second channel that talks about using YouTube and as for an agent, how you can use YouTube and leverage YouTube. And I don't sell anything. There's a lot of people that sell crap on there. I'd rather give people information. If they want to work with me, awesome. If they don't, they want to call Ian or Kevin. That's why they're on the channel. They're there to give them a chat. So Mark, I really appreciate you, man. Thank you. You shouldn't build one for once in a generation of events. That's what the insurance is for.
Oh, I understand what
you mean. Making decisions based on outliers.
Yeah. What he's saying is he's saying don't build a house for like this natural disaster that just happened.
Yeah.
So hold on. So whoever talked about Tesla working from home, if you had a solar roof and a Tesla Powerwall, just throw those together, then the roof would have actually heated the snow, melted the snow, and you would have had power the entire time. So I think this event taught people what could be done. Sure, that might not be the structure of the house, but that's absolutely something to consider when you're purchasing your next home.
I think it's
fell asleep.
I just think that this was easy.
That's okay. What'd you say? Sorry.
I think anybody could have just how do you prevent this from happening in the future? Go buy a generator right now. Just go buy a generator. Don't wait till they're all sold out. Buy one when you don't need it and stick it in the garage for that one time that you might need it.
Or spend 30 grand on Tesla panels and power walls, like Ian said.
No, but the other
buy $800.
If you're buying a $5 million house,
I'm not right now.
I'm actually sad because there was a nice little store in Sunset Valley that used to do like water catchment systems too. And I would recommend if you live in anywhere that you live, put a simple water catchment system on your gutters.
That's huge. Yes.
And save that. The problem for me was like we had no water for the week. I thank God I had power, and I had people say, well, I'd rather have no power. Wait, they'd rather have water, but no power. I was like, no. I was much happier with power, but no water, truthfully, because it wasn't necessarily that you couldn't drink. I could find drinking water or just drink Gatorade or whatever. But the problem was like flushing toilets and doing dishes, things that those are the things you take for granted. But the
flushing toilets is big.
A simple,
you can melt snow, but you have to be able to boil it, clean it, filter it.
I poured snow straight into my toilet tank so I could.
Yeah. So it works for flushing for sure.
But if you try a 55 gallon
pooping in your toilet tank, because that wasn't a thing.
I don't think that's how you do it. No.
What did you say?
Just pooping in your toilet tank.
He's dropping a deuce in the top of his tank.
Wait a second. So if you went number one inside of the top tank?
Yeah.
I mean, you just open up that flap on the top and just, you know what I'm saying?
And the pressure pulls itself up?
I don't know. Does that work? I didn't try it.
Sounds like upper decker. That's good.
Office.
It makes me think.
Wow,
any of you guys watch?
This still pertains to real estate, by the way. So
it does.
Just so you're aware. Go ahead.
This too.
What was that?
Say either you guys watch.
How far can I take this crassness? Because I'm sorry.
I mean, look, it's past 9 o'clock now. It's the families. The families are asleep, so we're past the show.
No, you have to put the little banner on your thing that says Jeremy After Dark.
After dark.
Jeremy at night. Come on.
Jeremax.
Night.
I think we need to get in touch with Ian with our sales team and get some commissioning kickbacks. Ooh, I don't know about that one.
I love it. I got kicked out of Tesla. I want to come back.
Yeah, okay. This question I tossed this up here because of God. Where'd you go? Where did you go? Somebody asked about inspectors. This is one of the inspectors that I use, Rosso Triple Pass. Fantastic work. The other one I use is pillar to post. Pillar to post. Let's see if it pulls up. Pillar post home inspection. Let's do Andrew. Nope. The other is pillar to post with Andrew Burrow. That's the other one I use. Who do you guys use?
I've used a lot. I like Mint.
Interesting.
Mint inspections. I actually double check. DBLcheck.net is a good friend of mine that owns that company, and they are highly effing rated. If you go to DBL Check LLC home inspections, they have 4.9 rating with 271 Google reviews.
Did you? And you didn't add them to this stream? Jeez.
You should start having service providers sponsor your streams, Jeremy.
I mean,
this stream brought to you by.
This stream brought to you by Ian's Model Y.
I added an inspector. I got one shared.
Yeah. Oh, you got it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Boom.
Look up Doyene Inspections. They're pretty good. They have 65 reviews, but they're newer, but I mean perfect reviews.
Ooh, this is the question of the night right here.
Uh-oh.
I love the screen right now because you can't see Mullet Head's face. So this is perfect screen right here.
It's just that dinosaur deal.
Random question. I've seen a ton of homes without gutters, most new build. Would you advise installing them? 100% yes, I advise installing them. I'll just speak for everybody here. I think it's one of the things that help you prevent foundation problems. It's one of the things that really help. And a lot of these builders don't want to put them in. So they pass the cost on to you. If you buy a new build and they add them in, you're getting a good deal.
Yeah. They're $3 a linear foot.
$3 a linear foot. That's not too bad. I mean, to do a whole house, depending how big it is, you're looking at $3,000, but it'll save you $20,000 in the future when you're having to fix the foundation.
If you had to choose between gutters and blinds, I'd choose gutters first and give the neighborhood a show.
And heat your home.
Have you seen that guy with the mullet walking around his house doing upper deckers?
I do wear something.
Oh, right. Okay. DBL is good. Don't know what that means.
DBL check. Double check. That's the one I was talking about earlier.
Oh, DBL. Okay, gotcha.
DBLcheck.net.
The issue for Austin music culture is affordability for musicians. 100% agree.
Yeah.
I know a growing number have moved to Lockhart to obtain affordable housing. I mean, that's our next thing, Ian. Let's just buy 20 acres and just do a ton of tiny homes, do a whole development. Awesome. Kevin, we're in on it. We're going to bring Mark. Mark, are you in? You're going to come with, we're going to do 20 acres. We're going to put in however many homes we can get on 20 acres and just do tiny home development like Community First Village. Boom. Nailed it.
There is actually a 903 Patton Road is a 16-acre property for $1 million down there in Lockhart right now.
For $1 million? I love it. Let's go get it. Is this shot in the background from the Renaissance? Boy, I am sure I chopped that name up. Yeah, something like that. It's from Google. I want to live. I want to live and have Mark Haverty commenting. I do too. Do a live. Sorry, yeah, do a live with Mark. Okay, Mark, live commenting with Mark. That'd be.
I just can't believe that people are still here.
I mean, we're past 2 hours, and there's 140 people watching. So I'm gonna keep giving them a show.
I've said this before. Like, this is we're past like Avengers Endgame and getting towards Gladiator, right?
Gladiator, that was a good one. Yeah.
Hopefully none of us die at the end of this, though. That would be a sad end to this live stream, Yeah. Boom, and we're gone. Yeah. Cool. Well, I want to see some more questions. I want to see some more boys from this guy, Mark. So back to Elon Musk. Brilliant, dude. We were thinking about selling our home in Round Rock, but then how the heck do we buy something in this market? 100% the problem with most sellers right now. I had a seller reach out to me in Round Rock. They wanted to go to one of the neighborhoods I actually talked about, which was Wyoming Springs. There's only like 70 homes being built in Wyoming Springs, and you can't get anything in there. It's not available. And so they're like, well, where do I go from there? I'm like, well, I mean, that's why more people aren't listing their homes. Builders are behind, which means sellers that could have gone to builders aren't doing that. Everybody else is buying properties, so there's not inventory for them to purchase. So this is why we're seeing all of this kind of trickle down effect, which is not good.
What we need you guys to do is we need the Californians to buy the homes here in Austin, and then we need the Austin people to sell their houses and move to California, and then you guys keep trading.
That's the right answer.
Trade back and forth. Yeah. Oh man, can you imagine? Is there a market for that? Let's do that. We'll move Austinites to. We'll just switch home swap. There you go. I
think we'll see more builders soon. Actually, I think we're going to see because like. What am I trying to say here? Builders? No, I'm trying to, a good way to put it is like mullets. When people see, okay, for the boomtown, right? Boomtown. When the original version was like, okay, somebody found gold, and then all of a sudden a city pops up. Well, what happens after that happens? Like 1 million people want to be there because they're looking for gold. Like I think we see how fast this market is changing right now in January, in the last, or from January, the third week of January till now, 1 month, this market has gone crazy. I was writing offers for 50,000 over. Then the next week it was 100,000 over. And I kid you not, the next week I wrote an offer for 100,000 and the winning offer was $190,000 over ask. Yeah. It happened over the course of 3 weeks. So what's going to happen is word is going to get out to people that
and then this week we had nothing hit the market last week.
Nothing hit the market. So next week in the next 2 or 3 weeks, the buyer pool has been cramped up with no new listings. So it's actually just made this a heck of a lot worse. But there's going to be new people with big money that are going to say, we need to go to Austin. We need to develop out there. We need to spend institutional money building subdivisions. And the next thing you're going to see is Katy, Texas type stuff. You're going to see massive immediate growth in some of these outlying areas.
So right now, a lot of these builders are trying to ice out agents, save money on commissions, do this, what you were talking about earlier in the stream, where they're just speccing out all the homes and then auctioning them off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I will say this on record now. I would love to be wrong. Well, actually, no, I don't want to be wrong here. But by July, August, those builders are going to start crying for us to come back and help them. Because I think that there is going to be a point where we hit July and the market starts to slow down, and then they have all this pre-built inventory, and they're going to be like, "Oh crap, where all the buyers go?"
Right? I don't think it's going to happen though in July.
I think it's July, August, because July it starts to slow down. August, September, those 2 months. But between now and then, prices are going to skyrocket between now and July. But I think those 2 months, you're going to see a lot of inventory start to lag, and those builders are start crying for us to start doing those events like, hey, real estate agents, come over, take a look. We have this neighborhood down here in San Marcos. Come check it out, because they're going to start crying for there. I think we'll start to see a lag towards the end of the year for a lot of different reasons. I think we'll start to see more inventory. And I think a lot of it has to do with taxes and property taxes. But I do see a point where builders are going to start crying for us to come back and help them. Dinosaur D, beer's on you, my friend. Thank you. Thank you.
Tell Jeff if he's got $6 million to invest, he needs to message me right now.
My email's down below, Jeff.
No.
I will tell you the exact plan. I will tell you the exact plan.
Good night.
How is New Braunfels area? I think that's a great area. If anyone's been paying attention, for all the 151 people still on this stream, I think New Braunfels is a great area.
You're not insinuating anything.
I'm not insinuating anything.
Oh, you just spoiled the surprise.
I didn't. I just saying it's a great area.
I think I'm gonna have to take note of that.
I saw this today. I think it was an AREA, the Austin Real Estate Alliance, on Facebook. Somebody posted like a email template that they were sending out to people, to agents that lost out on the winning bids. And it said line by line, not what the offer was, but kind of alluded to what the reasons were that winning offer won.
Yep.
It said like number one, price was over 20% over list price. Number two, there was no contingency. Number three, the option period was in triple digits.
Yep.
Or quadruple digits, so 4 digits. So $1,000 option fee. So that's one thing that we're seeing. Usually I used to talk to people like, oh, you could do for an option period, 7-day option period for $150. I mean, for some people, you're lucky if you even get an option period now.
That was so 2 years ago. That's 2000 late.
That was 2016. Do you anticipate interest rates going up a bit higher, Kevin Knight?
Yes, they already said that they're going to.
Yep.
And that's why the market's in complete disarray the last couple of days. Is I think people are a little bit concerned that interest rates are going to go up, and that's the kind of throw.
I mean, didn't they spike last week?
What's that? Rates?
Yeah.
Well, we're talking. He's talking about.
You're talking about significant
base rate, base like.
I mean, I see rates being back in the 3.5%. By 2022.
Yeah. Still the lowest you'll ever see.
But still below 4%. I just don't see him going too much higher. That's me. But I mean, I've been wrong before once. I was wrong by letting Kevin onto this channel. So there you go. There's my big mistake.
Well, now I'm here. What should I do about it?
I have the mute power, my friend. Do you have buyers who are let down after multiple offers have been rejected? What's your advice? Yeah, I mean, I'll let you guys speak on this, but it used to be nice when you could win a multiple offer almost every time because you had a winning strategy. But now the winning strategy has to be pay $180,000 over the list price, give up your life, your firstborn child, all your credit cards, pay off the seller's student debt just to win a property. So, I mean, what's your advice, or how do you let buyers down gently when that happens?
I think that tough love speaks volumes here, right? Like, you always want to give the advice, but then when the buyer doesn't take it and loses an offer after offer after offer, I think it kind of sets in that you have to either listen. Something has to change, and so if you can somehow score an opportunity, or that there's a way that they can win something, then they need to go after it.
And sometimes winning, and Ian can attest that too, like we're having to advise people that winning is going to take more than it used to, and more than your friends told you that they had to do, and maybe more that you feel comfortable with. So we had to go pretty high to get an offer, a contract like a week and a half ago, and with everything that happened last week, it just pushed back some professional stuff we needed to have done. And my clients ended up terminating that contract because they just didn't feel comfortable with some of the stuff that was going on with the house. And I felt bad, but the reality is, I mean, they lost their option, which was a 4-digit option.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have had that contract had they not offered what we offered. So It's like, it's the catch-22. There's higher risk associated with these contracts at the moment, but yeah, I've had buyers go ahead and move back to California already, unfortunately, because they just couldn't find what they were looking for. So, but we're spoiled on this, honestly. We're so used to being able to get whatever we want.
Yeah,
we can just walk into anywhere. Like we were talking about video cards, like a video card for a computer, a $300 video card right now is selling for over $1,000. Right? Why is it selling for that much? People, do you really need a new video card right now? No, but we're so used to be able to walk into a store and get whatever we want. I want to walk into realtor.com and find my dream house and just go be able to put an offer because I'm ready to buy a home. Well, it's not working like that anymore. It's just that's not a luxury that we all have, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So you got to manage your expectations a bit better.
Oh, I read this wrong. I thought Troy was saying he makes $250K a year and he's single and wants to get married for $500K.
Yeah, I was going to say looking for someone who can match.
Yeah, I was like, that's a pretty sweet deal.
There's
right there.
So many different ways you can interpret that.
I don't know what Austin E is talking about here. I don't understand. I don't understand about this comment. Joel, swinging back to the interest rate thing. Joel, I think you're going to be fine. I don't think interest rates are going to go back that high between now and July timeframe. I'm talking like, I think March of next year is when we start seeing prices back at 3.5%. That's my expectation. I could be wrong. Like I said, I was wrong once.
30-year right now is 2.9. So yeah, there was 0.5% higher than it was a couple weeks ago. FHA is only 2.7 though. And don't be scared of those FHA loans.
In this market? Well, you can get under contract with you could get under contract with a conventional and then switch to FHA to get a lower rate.
It wouldn't be worth it.
You're still bringing the
worth it, yeah.
You're still
exactly, yeah.
I mean, the arms are
your closing costs paid. You can't do an FHA and think you're getting your closing costs paid too.
Right.
That doesn't.
Here's a good one I liked. Can y'all talk about what to look for in a condo? I'm a new grad and don't need much space.
I think Kevin's excited for this one.
I'll start, but if you can afford like under 400 with like a $200 a month HOA fee. There's some, the sky's the limit. I think you can have great options there, but somebody just texted me that my pool company is terrible. That's a whole story for another day.
Next week on Jeremy Night.
Yeah. Next week on Jeremy Night's stupid pool. I think if you can get something under 4 with a lower HOA fee and the taxes aren't crazy, I think there's a lot of good condo options. I would try to buy something in 78704 personally.
There just aren't as I don't.
There's not as many as there once was.
There's a ton in 02 right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what you're looking, I think one of the things to look for, like everywhere, is low HOAs for a condo, because that's and low is relative to the price that you're paying, but also watch that tax rate. I think we were talking last week, Jeremy, or the week before, and I saw a condo where the tax rate was 3.42
for a condo.
For a condo, I said, "What happened? What happened there?"
I actually look at it a little differently because are you buying for yourself?
Yeah, that's a really good question.
If you're buying for yourself, then I think a lot of that stuff kind of goes out the window. There are ridiculous HOAs, but I would be happy to pay an HOA if it includes a lot of stuff that I was going to have to pay for anyway.
Right.
Yeah. If it includes trash and water and some other stuff, even if there's a premium for it, if it's a nice building with good amenities,
rooftop
and it's walkable,
pool, all that.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Like, does it have a social life, or in a neighborhood that I really, really like? I'm willing to pay more, and actually don't even care. I care less about price per square foot than I think a lot of people do. Yeah. I think people get too bent on price per square foot. Like, I look for price per experience.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of using price per square foot as a metric.
Did you just say price per experience?
Yeah.
That's excellent. That right there is the key. Your quality of life. Yeah. And what you're saving and having to go to this, drive anywhere, right? Mm-hmm. That's huge. That's huge.
Right. I've lived in some small stuff, and I can assure you, just as happy or sad in a very small space as I was in a very large space. It doesn't make a difference at all.
Yep.
This is a good question by John. What are the lowest tax rates? John, I actually did a video on this. You can check my YouTube channel and find it.
Link below.
Really, I think the best places are going to be what's called, if you read it, it's Menchaca, which is South Austin, just south of 1626 or in that area. You're under you're 1.8%. I just bought a condo, freestanding condo in there as a rental property. That's a great spot. Up in, what the heck is the name? It's just north of Wells Branch. Chimney Hill area, there's 1.9% tax rate there. That's a great spot. Those are two areas that I would look at. If you're going to go look east, and this is where everybody's trying to go, is over by Hornsby Bend. Austin's Colony is like 1.9 or something like that.
1.98, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, 1.98. So laugh out loud. If I am going to do this stream for one, I need to have this video quality, but HOAs can be assholes. And Dream Killer, don't kill my dreams.
This is my job. Hey, you tell the
Thanks,
sky, don't be
He
the
owns
sky. Don't be blue, right? You
Can't
some
tell
things
my
are just-
walls not to be
you
green.
tell water not to be wet. Yeah,
Water.
tell Ian's wall not to be green. That's right. He said, I didn't say that.
Yeah, no, we wouldn't tell that to you, Ian.
Tang is asking if we haven't talked about that much. Oh, we have a little bit buying land and doing custom home. If you would have asked me a week ago, I would have probably had a different answer. But construction costs are actually going up so much right now. If I was a custom builder, I'm not sure that I would even agree to do a contract right now unless it was for a stupid amount of money. As a custom build, and there's not many economies. If you don't have,
well,
I mean, that's $1 million proposition at this point.
He also says if you're not in a hurry, like what does that mean? Because that's relative too. Are you talking like you want to build in 2 years? That changes things.
Well, I think it's a big deal because they're going to refinance the loan when it's finished into the final mortgage. So I'm not sure that I'd wait 2 years to see what that happens.
Yeah.
And like I said, if the proposition there, the value proposition there, you're going to be in for $1 million at this point.
Mark, I don't see you in my Instagram feed, by the way. So hit me up again. I don't see it. Sorry. What were we talking about?
Buying land and custom build.
Oh, that's right. Perfect.
Jeremy, is everything okay?
Yeah,
Pool company in your head?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. If people want to hear my pool company story, check
Go for it.
I do a weekly update on how crappy my pool company is. Apache Shores. Man, I had a friend that was telling me about, you got to buy land in Apache Shores. You got to buy land and look, you can buy all these lots for so cheap. And I was like, oh yeah, whatever. Like 7, 15, 20 grand for all these lots. I wish I would have just bought a ton of lots.
Oh God, yes. And Deer Creek
too. Yeah.
Oh my God. I looked at all those, that one guy had all those lots for Deer Creek about 5 years ago and he wanted 10, 15 grand. And people are like, it's hard to build on those lots. They're so hard to build.
Mm-hmm.
What I wouldn't give to have a $10,000 buildable lot at this point.
Right.
I'd buy them all. I'd find all the money in the world and I'd buy them all.
Right.
We didn't answer his question though. If you had $6 million to invest, what would you invest in? Jeremy, what would you do?
Honestly, I would buy a bunch of beach rentals in Sal Padre and just hang out in Sal Padre. But that's just me.
I don't know.
I don't know. I think there's a lot of things. I mean, with $6 million, depending on how you're leveraging it, there's so many different ways to do it.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. What's the return you're wanting? That is a better answer. What's the return you're wanting on that $6 million and in what time frame? And then let's start planning from there.
Oh, let me check one thing out and I'll let them know what that looks like for $6 million. Let's see. Let me think.
While you're doing that, I'm planning to buy a condo as an investment, but most condos in Austin have monthly expenses that are higher than the current rent prices. What are your thoughts? I think we answered that a little bit, did we not?
Yeah, we talked about it.
Yeah.
Depends on, because you have to think about what you're getting in value and the fact that you're owning something, building equity in something. So if it's $100 over what a rent price would be, then it doesn't really matter.
Right. Any benefits to escrow property taxes and insurance as compared to save it on my own? I think depending on what are you doing? Like, so let's just say your property taxes are 15 grand a year. What can you do with that? How can you invest that 15 grand for the year and have a return on it and then put it back in your account and pay those taxes into the year? That's what you need to assess.
Yeah. Like if you bought Bitcoin at a dip and then it goes up and then you go back and pay your taxes with half, that's a win.
I personally do not escrow any of my properties. I put all the taxes out. I ran into a problem one time when we did have escrows where they raised our escrows higher than what they should have been, and you're just stuck paying that, right? So I'm not a fan of escrows personally, but 99% of most people have to escrow. So yeah, only if you're putting 20% down. I'm planning about. Oh, we read that one. Kevin's still taking 20 minutes. Jeff.
No, I was just thinking about it. I mean, my first inclination was to buy as many doors as possible, but I'll go back to my other thing. And like, I think at least if you're going to buy any units, whether it's a multifamily or 10 homes, at least 10 units. If it's a multifamily, I'd say probably at least 16 units would be my best advice there.
Yeah.
The more doors that you can buy, the better. In my opinion, the more doors that you can buy, the better for that price, because you get great economies of scale as it keeps going up.
I mean,
And
look,
there's no doubt that it's going to keep going up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you can find opportunities like my client that just purchased that property, I mean, like I keep going back to the well on that, but I think that was just such a killer find. Under $1.5 million, the whole thing is renting for 11 grand. The taxes aren't too crazy, but for $1.5 million, I mean, and it's in 78704 where prices are just going up like crazy. If you can find like an AB unit that's, you know, $1.1 million, 2 up to $1.5 million that are going to rent something like that, you know, 11 to 15 grand a month. I mean, that would be the best return on your money, because then you can buy just, you know, 6 doors versus buying 30 doors. And, you know, 30 doors to me is just too much time. And so I'm not a big fan of buying. I'd like to do less with more. I'd like to do more with less money, I guess. So I just don't, I'm not a fan of buying a ton of doors and then having to collect on those and spending all my time. If you want to spend all your time doing that, or have a management company do that, and you're going to bake that into your cost.
Well, it becomes more complicated of a calculation, and there's more factors at play. Like, let me explain it like this: the shorter the term, the rental, the more money that you'll make, but the more time you're going to spend doing that. So, like, if you bought Airbnb, like one property that you Airbnb would make 2 to 3 times what it would make as a long-term rental, but you're also risking vacancy. And continually trying to get somebody in there. So you're going to spend marketing dollars to make that work. So there is a sweet spot between too few on the low end, where you're going to constantly have turnover and vacancy, and then not enough on the high end, because you could buy like one $6 million house that you're trying to lease. You'll get a longer term renter there, but you might go months before you find somebody. For me personally, I want people to stay as long as is humanly possible. So I think the sweet spot is somewhere in the middle, where you try to get people that are going to stay in a moderately priced place, as many moderately priced places as you can based on your market, and get them to stay as long as possible. I want somebody to sign a long lease with me.
Right. And, you know, the other thing too is there's something to say if you're buying something and everybody's renting for $800 or $900 a month for those units. Yeah, you might be making 30 grand a month off of it with 30 doors, but at the same time, like, you're going to get a different quality client doing or tenant renting potentially at $4,000 to $5,000 a month, right? Renting a long-term rent. So you got to, there's a lot of different ways you can cut that up. $6 million. There's definitely, a lot of ways to do it. I think had you come in with $6 million 2 years ago, I would have said, let's buy a bunch of 350 homes.
Oh yeah.
On those and rent those. But now you're going to be paying for those 350 homes. You're going to be paying almost 500. And that's where, you got to start looking at if you're paying cash for each one of those, or if you're going to leverage each one, you got to figure out what you're doing there.
I think it's still worth it at 500 though.
Yeah, for sure. If the rents are there, for sure.
Yeah.
So I had to waive my appraisal closing next month in Tiermo, which was fine. I went home back in Michigan, and they waived the appraisal as well. I feel like I'm taking 100% crazy pills.
Yeah.
100%. Ian, this one's for you from Aware Penguin. Welcome back. It's been a while since I've been waiting for a comment from you. Ian, how competitive is Sandy Reader Ranch? I looked at it as it based on your recommendation a while back. Yeah, and it's not quite at the level of what do you call it? What's that word? Treviso? It's not like that, but it's something like Treviso, that. Yeah. But it's still challenging right now. What's happening is all the builders that are there are multiple. I've been there 3 times in the last week. 3 times. A couple of the builders, they just don't even have their doors open. So like Empire Homes there, they said, come back in August. We might have something. And I said, what? They don't even have anything. They have a phone number on the door. Highland Homes, same thing. They were like, you can schedule an appointment, but it's not going to matter. Yeah. And then, that's where I think things in this market have gotten just out of hand. Yeah. You can't even buy a new build. Yeah.
But
I mean,
yeah.
I just had a client, a couple weeks ago. We put a contract on a $500,000 home in Kyle.
Yeah.
And at the time, they're asking me, "Is this a bad deal?" And I go, "Well, where else are you going to buy 500?"
Right. That's the
And they're
question.
like, "Nowhere." Then yeah, it's a good. I mean, it's a good deal.
Good deal.
Because that neighborhood, here's the thing, that neighborhood, the next home that they list for that size home is not going to list for 460.
Right.
It's going to list for 530. So yes, you're already going to have equity in that home. So somebody asked about horror stories and builders to avoid.
That's the next stream.
I feel like that should be a whole stream in itself.
It should.
I mean, we'll give you a little taste, but something that rhymes with Castle Rock. Oh wait,
It's so funny that you even say that.
Yeah.
So Kevin, Ian, and I, we did not bash Castle Rock at all. So what's your experience with that builder, Kevin?
I mean, all I can tell you is when I went to Carmel today, there are like 7 builders on that row, and I even told the Ashton Woods rep, I was like, I'm going to go to everybody but Castle Rock.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's just like it's a combination of just reputation and quality.
Saddle Creek, same thing in Georgetown. I go with clients and I'm like, we're not going to go there. We just trust me on this one.
It's the one place, one of the few actually. I don't have a big issue. I've had issues with a lot of builders that are good builders. So that's the thing.
I mean, that's the thing is you can have bad issues with good builders, and you can have good issues with bad builders.
Yeah,
a good experience with bad builders. Yeah,
good. Yeah, I think I said that really wrong. I mean, God, I have so many people ask me about duplexes. If you can find a duplex, great. I can't find duplexes anywhere.
There was one in 4-5 yesterday, a good one.
It was there yesterday. Is it there today?
Oh heck no, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Is anything there today? Listen, if I left a cake on your countertop, is it going to be there tomorrow?
Depends on what kind of cake, but probably not.
Depends on how hungry you are too. Like, I'm very hungry. I love cake, and it's chocolate. It's not going to be there.
How about this? Has my water been turned off for 7 days and there's one bottle of water left? Am I going to drink it? Yes. I've had that happen.
What if it was grapefruit liqueur?
I mean,
You're still going to drink it? What if it was root beer?
Don't say that like that's not good. You stop.
This coming from the guy that drinks that green drink. Is Liberty Hill ISD a good ISD? That's a fair question. Let's go to my good friends at niche.com. Let's type in Liberty Hill
and see what Niche says.
Liberty Hill Independent School District.
But also,
this
kids haven't been in school school hasn't been the same for a while. So you got to look at these ratings with a grain of salt. I mean, they are a baseline, but you still have to think through that.
We are going to add you.
And think about how many people are moving and how much it's changing and how much money is going into the school districts.
So here you go. Liberty Hill rated an A-.
I mean, the Ian's right. The districts are changing so fast.
Yeah, they can't keep up with this.
The best part about high property taxes is that a lot of that money is going into the school district.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I would, if I had kids in public school.
Yeah, but is the school district spending it wisely? That's the question.
Well, that's all. Yeah, that is.
I don't think it matters.
Yeah, but they're doing everything they can not to have kids in school right now, too.
Like Maynard doesn't have an HEB, but they've got like a robotics lab or something. What?
Well, they can get groceries anywhere, but you can't get robotics just anywhere.
Yeah, it's true.
My point is they're not the same type of rating, and it's not really fair.
Yeah.
All right. So somebody said they made it to the end. So let's call it. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. You've made it to the end. We're at an hour and a half. 2 hours.
2:45 almost.
Best free movie we've ever had, except for Mark tossing in cash.
Yeah.
Everybody else is tossing cash. Thank you.
This is Lord of the Rings length here.
Yeah. Thank you for everybody that chipped in. That's awesome. Legit. Like, I appreciate that. Again, before we go, I do appreciate everyone that's dropped comments, that comes back, that's been on the stream. Next time we do this stream, I will not have Ian and Kevin on here. I'm just kidding. They'll be back.
Yeah.
They're recurring guest spots.
I'm going to get Aaron next time too.
Oh yeah. So Aaron was too busy doing a photo shoot. She's too pretty for us.
Yeah.
So she'll be on the next one. She'll be a firecracker. So, all right, everybody. Oh, last question. Yes.
Yeah.